Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
Talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy Austin Ward. My good buddy Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lavery is joining us.
Hi, everybody. Dom Tiberi here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah,
and then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only two guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
Boy, this is the ultimate. The teacher's gone, last day of the school year show today. I'm Ryan Baker. Dylan Gonzalez, he's on the other side of the glass. He's been here all week with Reese and myself. Filling in, though, for Eric Reeser today, my good buddy of Bucknuts and the host of On the Money here on The Fan, Dave Biddle. Dave, my friend, it has been a while since you and I have done a show together. We used to do them a lot, but it's been a while. It is so good to see you, my friend.
It's great to see you, Bake. And when was the last time was it the Collins show, maybe? I can't remember.
When Scotty was out. It's been a little while, though. I mean, we used to do shows all the time. Now we're back. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing really well, man. Hopefully our Reds can win another series. I thought this was going to be a brutal 24-game stretch. They've got 9 games left in what I consider that brutal stretch, and they're 9-6 so far during that stretch. I was just hoping they could go 12-12. Because then they go into the All-Star break, as you know, Bake. They get to play the Marlins for 3 games, no, the Rockies for 4 games, Marlins for 3. That's a pretty nice way to go into the All-Star break, playing the Marlins and the Rockies at home, no less.
You and I were texting on Tuesday night. That was the debut of Chase Burns. And listen, I'm not going to say, like, wow, that's the best debut we've seen. I'm not going to get caught up in recency bias because not too long ago, we had the debut of Ellie De La Cruz, and I remember like that week and month how Cincinnati was kind of the talk of the baseball world and how electric he was. And actually, it's pretty interesting to see how Ellie's numbers have kind of progressed, and he's having actually a really good year offensively, at least this year. But
yeah.
That was pretty special seeing Chase Burns come out there, mow down the first 3 batters he faced via strikeout, the next 2 in the second inning through the K, and then he gives up the base hit to Chisholm. First 6 outs, though, strikeouts. It was pretty fun to watch as a Reds fan.
Definitely, and he was the first player in the modern era, so since 1961, to have his major league debut and strike out the first 5 batters that he faces. The only one to ever do that is Chase Burns. And that, when they took him last year, because they took Rhett Lauder the previous year, I thought they would go with one of those bats. And the guy that they were really considering, I think, was Charlie Condon. He's not doing that good in the Rockies. He was the number 3 pick. Now, I do think the Guardians' the number 1 overall pick, Travis, is it Bazzana? I still think he's going to be good. He's not maybe as far along as some of these other guys. It turned out to be a really good draft. But anyway, Bake, I was thinking, really, okay, they've been loading up on pitching. Hopefully this was a good pick. It looks like that was a fantastic pick by the Reds, getting Chase Burns at number 2. If they redid the draft, you'd have to think he'd go number 1. So they've had now 3 number 2 picks in the last 9 years. 1 bust, Nick Senzel, 1 that's panned out, Hunter Green, and 1 that looks like it'll pan out. We don't know. It's 1 start in Chase Burns. If you had the number 2 pick of the draft, you cannot have 2 of those guys be busts. So far, so good for the Reds.
We'll actually talk a little more Reds coming up later in the show, and thing or not a thing, because Jeff Passan had some interesting things. The Guardians, they get shut out last night by the Blue Jays. What a rough day for Kyle Manzardo. 3 errors in the ball game, and the one definitely led to one of the runs for the Blue Jays as he just made like a baffling throw at first base after missing a ball. He goes and gets it and just turns and fires, and nobody's looking. Pretty rough for him. But both Ohio baseball teams right now in the race, and I think that's what you ask for at the midway point of the season.
Definitely. Like, you look at the Guardians, you could say they're fortunate to be over 500 because their run differential is like It's not good. It's like, was it like minus 34, minus 40, something like that. So hopefully that's just that's a fluke and they can continue to stay in the race. But the Tigers are obviously going to run away with the AL Central. They pretty much already are. The Tigers came out of nowhere late last year, and they've been good ever since. With the last 2 months of the season, they were even sellers at the deadline last year, the Tigers were, and still made the playoffs. But I know you want to get in some Blue Jackets talk. There is something called the NHL Draft tonight, my friend.
Yeah, NHL Draft gets underway tonight at 7 with the first round. Picks are rounds 2 through 7 tomorrow. We'll talk to Aaron Portzline coming up here at 9:30 to kind of get the tone, like what he's hearing about the Jackets. We know there have been a lot of rumors out there. The Jackets make a couple minor deals yesterday. Daniil Tarasov sent to the Florida Panthers. They reacquire Brendan Gaunce for minor league forward Cam Butler. And that's a kind of deal, Bids, that kind of goes unnoticed sometimes. Gaunce is a guy that maybe you won't see what he brings to the team on the ice here at Columbus next year, but he's a quality veteran. I think they missed having him this year down in Cleveland. We know he was with the Jackets. He left this past season to go to the Minnesota Wild organization. He was a guy that the Jackets could easily call up, a veteran guy who could fit right in to the fourth line, come up and, a quality locker room, provide minutes. But the biggest thing with a guy like him is that leadership and mentorship that he gives the young guys in Cleveland.
Yeah, and I'm curious to get your take on the picks tonight. We talked about this a little bit off the air. So the Jackets have the number 14 pick and the number 20 pick in the first round tonight. Now, are you hoping they keep both picks, trade both picks, keep one, trade the other?
I'm totally fine with them trading both picks. If it helps them, if they can package them in deals that help them get players that help this roster this coming season, I'm okay with that.
Definitely.
Like the Jackets you're seeing their pipeline start to get here, right? Fantilli and KJ and Denton Matejchuk last year and all these guys. And they've still got some guys in the minor leagues, the Gavin Brindleys, the Jordan Dumays, the Luca Del Belbalus. They've got some quality guys, obviously. Caden Lindstrom going to Michigan State. Charlie Ehrlich. Everybody keeps talking about the Jackets have to draft a right-shot defenseman, and I don't think that's wrong. It's kind of like pitchers in starting baseball. We talked about Chase Burns. You can never have too much starting pitching. There's certain positions in hockey, centers and right-shot defensemen, that just kind of seem hard to come by. And everybody's always wanting a right-shot defenseman or a center. Charlie Ehrlich's a guy that they drafted last year in the second round that I guarantee you he may be 2-3 years away from Columbus, but when he gets to Columbus, you will see just as many Ehrlich 57 jerseys or whatever number he wears. That's what he wears in the minors. As you will Adam Fantilli, because people will love this guy because of the physical nature of his game. He's kind of a throwback. I'm not going to say he's exactly like Scott Stevens, because Scott Stevens was just a destroyer on the ice, but Charlie Ehrlich is this kind of guy. So I don't necessarily believe the Jackets have to draft a right-shot defenseman. If they can get one that can play here next season, that's a big thing. So I would rather have right now, if I'm the Jackets, players and production on the ice rather than prospects at this point. So if you trade both picks, I'm fine with it.
I'm with it too. And didn't they get a steal in the third round as well with a defenseman last year? Was it Luca Morelli?
Yeah. He had a pretty big offensive year in the minors as well. And they also drafted a goaltender last year in Evan Gardner in the second round. And again, a guy like that's probably 2-3 years away, maybe more, from making an impact at the NHL level, but they're very high on Evan Gardner too.
Yeah, I was reading a little bit about Morelli, and that was a very interesting piece about how he had a coach that he was telling him, you need to shoot more. You need to at least shoot. He was never shooting the puck, and now he's for a defenseman, a pretty good goal scorer. So Charlie Ehrlich is a big boy, huh? Was he 6'4"? 200 and what? Is he over 200 pounds?
Yeah, he's over 200 pounds. Yeah. He's a guy that was in minors, actually came up and was with he'll be in AHL, the Cleveland Monsters next year. He came up. He did not play with them this season, but he was there for their playoff run this year with the team and getting acclimated to things like that. It's actually funny if you I see that you're over there searching things on Charlie Ehrlich. One of the things that was pretty cool last year when they were drafted, it was the Jackets' first two picks. him and Caden Lindstrom have a pretty good fight that you can find online against each other.
Oh, that's right. I did see that.
And now they're teammates.
I forgot about that. That's right. You're talking about big boys. They went big in the draft last year for sure. Now, Morelli was not very big, but the rest of the guys are big. The goalie's not that big for a goalie, but yeah, Caden Lindstrom, 6'3", 6'4". And it sounds like his back is healthy now, which is huge. I was really concerned about that. I'll have to kind of root for Michigan State hockey this year. At least it's not Michigan, although half our team is former Michigan players. But yeah, I'll be definitely rooting for Lindstrom at Michigan State this year when he's not playing Ohio State.
You mentioned the size. If you look at Don Waddell's track record, that's something he does a lot of times. That's why some people have said Don Waddell would shy away from a Mitch Marner, who's the top free guy on the free agent class this year. Some people have said that he would shy away from him because he's not the biggest guy, and Waddell has had a history of getting bigger, whatever it is, defensemen, centermen, wingers. He's a guy that likes the physical stature, the bigger guy that can do the dirty work along the boards and hold up physically. I don't think that would shy Don Waddell away from Mitch Marner because I think Mitch Marner does the dirty work pretty good. He's a 200-foot player. But again, it's just a track record. Certain guys like certain things, and you can see, as you were just talking about the Jackets draft class last year, they went bigger. So it'll be interesting to see what happens tonight. We will talk a little more Jackets real quick. The NBA draft wrapped up last night with the second round. The Cavs get 2 picks. They get Tyrese Proctor, kind of a proven guy, a pretty good shooter out of Duke. And the other guy that they get, Sal-Yoon Yang from Senegal, a 6'8" guy, a lot of length, maybe has some a pretty low ceiling offensively, but a guy that could really help them defensively. I thought the story of the draft last night, to me, though, were some of the guys that didn't get drafted. Caleb Love from Arizona that we know. R.J. Luis, who still had eligibility from St. John's with college. He went to the draft. He doesn't get drafted. Mark Sears from Alabama, a Chase Hunter of Clemson, Bryce Williams of Nebraska. There's some pretty good guys, and some of them have already been scooped up. I know Caleb Love, I believe, signed with Portland already, but a bunch of really talented players that we know that didn't get drafted.
I thought the Vladislav Golden young man, the big 7-foot Russian that played at Michigan last year, followed Dusty May up from Florida Atlantic. I thought he'd be a second-round pick. He was on a lot of lists, like ranked right around 45th, 50th, and big 7'1" Russian did not get drafted, but he did sign with the Miami Heat as a free agent.
Yesterday, Don Waddell, during our show, spoke to the media. We will let you hear some of that coming up next. Ryan Baker, Dave Biddle in for Reese, Dylan Gonzalez. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in the 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
I'm an old school Joe. I never lay juice I don't want to lay. I don't hate my money like that. I'd rather lay -108 than -110, wouldn't you? Prime Sports is Ohio's full-time reduced juice sports book. Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Get a welcome bonus to match your initial deposit up to $400 in bonus bets. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 and present in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Stories like this are really who we are. Hi, it's Steve Lindsay with Lindsay Honda. One of my son's coaches was having an issue with his transmission in his Honda. He had gotten quoted almost $9,000. He's like, can you help me out on the price and getting one through your Honda dealership? And I said, yeah. I said, but let's bring the vehicle in and let's make sure you, in fact, do need a transmission. We did a complete flush on his transmission and a software update on it, and that fixed his problem. And this guy has an extra $8,500 in his pocket because he reached out and I was able to connect him with my staff. We're going to take a step back and to make sure we're actually treating the core issue, not just the symptom.
This month at Lindsay Honda, choose a 2025 Honda Ridgeline RTL, Honda HR-V or CR-V, and pay just $299 a month at our famous Lindsay Honda Trade-A-Thon. We'll trade for anything and give you $1,000 more for your vehicle all month long. Visit lindsayhonda.com for details.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix that's guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with lower prices on over 1,000 items. Hand it to Kroger shoppers. You never compromise. Kroger. fresh for everyone.
You can save big on 12 packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or 7-Up. Select varieties or buy 2, get 2 free with your card. Limit 8. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Excuse me, did someone say jackpot? The Ohio Lottery's Mega Millions jackpot is up to $348 million. You heard that right, $348 million. Jackpots start at $50 million and grow faster than ever. And drawings are every Tuesday and Friday. With the new built-in multiplier, all non-jackpot prizes are multiplied between 2 and 10 times. Play Mega Millions today. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here. Spring weather has arrived, and we all know what that brings. Warmer weather and severe storms. Well, when bad weather hits, we all know it can cause leaky roofs or even damage to your siding and gutters. The Roofing Guys are your local experts in roofing, siding, and gutters and more, providing top quality through every roof, every time. So it's just a small repair, full replacement, or even peace of mind. You need to contact my guys, the Roofing Guys, 614-626-7000, or visit them at theroofingguys.com. That's theroofingguys.com.
All your favorite fan shows are on YouTube, along with those fake YouTube ads like Chew This Gum and It Grows New Teeth. Experience the splendor of Bo sitting in his closet, Timmy Hall's gouty gold chains, and Matty Ice wearing a coat in 90-degree weather. It's all there. Head to YouTube and subscribe today.
2 hours ago, Kyle arrived at the bar.
Hey, what's everyone drinking?
30 minutes ago, Kyle got his friends another round of drinks.
Cheers!
5 minutes ago, Kyle decided to drive home drunk. A minute ago, a law enforcement officer pulled up behind Kyle.
Sir, have you been drinking tonight?
A chain of events that began 2 hours ago is about to change Kyle's whole world. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
Summer is in full swing. If you think you're hot, well, so are your trees. You can help your trees by watering them, especially if they're newly planted. During the hot, dry summer months, your trees could use a water boost. Watering new trees a few times a week will help them survive while they're developing their root system, so don't forget about them. To find out more about watering trees or to find a certified arborist near you, go to treesforohio.org. That's trees, the number 4, ohio.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Happy Friday, everybody. I wish I had an update to our forecast, but it remains the same. We'll have chances of showers and thunderstorms developing this afternoon into the early evening, otherwise partly to mostly sunny skies. Highs in the mid to low 90s, and our feels like in the triple digits in some spots. For tonight, lows down into the 70s, and then for Saturday, a little bit cooler. Highs in the upper 80s, but we will see chances of showers and thunderstorms in the forecast. Otherwise, mostly to partly sunny skies. For the Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfolo with the 10th Weather Impact Forecast.
T-Bone and Tyvis are everything you want in a delicious breakfast. Lots of empty calories, no nutritional value.
Weekday mornings from 6 to 9.
The Fan. Our top men are working on everything except this show.
We have top men working on it right now. Who? Top men.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
The NHL draft gets underway tonight at 7 with the first round. Join us for the Blue Jackets draft special right here on The Fan. Bob McElligott and Dylan Tyre will be live from Nationwide Arena as the Jackets look to add some exciting new talent to the lineup. It all starts tonight at 6. The Blue Jackets draft special sponsored by Ohio Health, only on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination. Yesterday, it was 11:30, so it was while we were on air here during Bishop and Friends. Don Waddell had a little pre-draft media session to kind of talk about what's going on. Like, we're focused on the draft right now, correct, because it's tonight, but free agency opens up midnight, Monday night, Tuesday morning, however you want to look at it. July 1st comes and free agency opens up, and this isn't the greatest free agent class. We talked a little bit about Mitch Marner at the top. He's a high end, but from everything you're hearing from people that cover not only the Columbus Blue Jackets, but the NHL, the Blue Jackets are open for business. They want to improve this roster.
Yeah, I mean, they were within an eyelash of making the playoffs last year when I think their over-under for wins or for points was something like 59.5 entering the season. They went about 30 ahead of that. So, yeah, I mean, they're right there. It doesn't mean because last year they were close that everybody's going to have the exact same year. I mean, Zach had his best year, stayed healthy. Hopefully it happens again. Fantilli broke out. Kent Johnson. You got to think those guys will be better. The young guys will continue to get better. But it's never linear in sports. We just hope they will be better next year. And I think hopefully they will be a playoff team, and hopefully they make some noise here. As you know, Ryan, they've got a lot of cap space. Is it top 5 in the league?
I think it's top in the league. They've got $40 million in cap space right now.
So there you go. And you might have to overpay, to get one of the top free agents to come here. Maybe not. I mean, I think the reputation of Columbus.
Don Waddell do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you might have to if you want to get one of the top guys. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he handles this. Is he going to bring in a star? Is it going to be more of like a, second or third line guy? Definitely need to get. I mean, is it safe you got to get a right-handed defenseman, and do we need a top 6 forward?
I think you want to add to that group, because right now you've got Sean Monahan and Kirill Marchenko, who they played so well together. I think you're going to keep those two together. Then you've got Fantilli and KJ, who I think you're going to keep those two together. Then you could throw Voronkov or a Chinnikov in there. Maybe Chinnikov gets dealt here. Maybe he doesn't. But definitely Chinnikov, when he's healthy, a top 6 type talent. Voronkov's a guy that could play on that top line. He could also play on that third. But I do think you want to get a top 6 winger to somehow fit in with this lineup.
That'd be great. Do something similar. That doesn't have to be a center, but what they did with Monahan last year. Now, obviously, times are different, but it's great to know, man. I was just hoping they were top 5 in cap space. I love hearing, because you know as much about the Jackets as any of my friends. So the fact that they have the most cap space in the NHL, that is awesome. And Waddell, man, it's taken him exactly 1 year to turn things around. I mean, less than a year. I mean, hiring Dean Evison was a great move, and some of just the smaller moves he made turn out not even be small. Getting Dante Fabro for nothing, picking him up off waivers from Nashville, and now. Hopefully the Blue Jackets re-sign him, but I was reading a piece on The Athletic that had him as one of the, as you were saying, Bake, it's not a great free agent class, but they said Dante Fabro is going to be one of those guys that a lot of teams want, so it's going to be interesting to see if the Jackets can lock him up before free agency begins.
And Fabro was a guy this past weekend. And the Jackets are still continuing talks with him, but it sounded like, man, they were getting pretty close on a deal. We haven't heard anything yet about an extension with Fabro, but it did sound like that the Jackets and him were getting close. Here's Don Waddell yesterday talking about just some of the areas on this team he wants to improve.
Well, I've said all along, I think there's a couple of areas that we'd like to be deeper and better, up front and on the back end. Obviously, if we sign all our own guys, we were pretty comfortable how we ended the season with that group. So we're pretty open to any position, to be honest with you. And we will look at, and we have looked at. I would love to be able to show you guys this book I keep on all the conversations, because I write everything down, and it's pages of players. Either mostly obviously through trades, and then of course you got the free agent list, but. I feel comfortable that we're going to be able to do a few things that are going to make our hockey team better, and that's our goal. And I mean, you got to remember, it doesn't stop on July 1st either, because, there's a few guys that we signed later on, JBR, guys that played, had a pretty good impact with our hockey club last year.
So the things we know the Jackets are looking for, a top 4 right shot defenseman. That's tough because everybody in the league is looking for that. They're looking for a top 6 winger to complement the group that they have up there that we just talked about. And they're looking for preferably a right shot center that's good on the draws, that can play on the 4th line, because Sean Corrali, it sounds like, probably won't get re-signed for the Jackets. It sounds like the 2 guys of the UFAs that the Jackets currently have that they're talking with the most are Dante Fabro and Justin Danforth, a guy who could fit that 4th line right shot center role. Here is Don Waddell talking about the talks with the UFAs.
Yeah, we're talking to multiple. I probably better not to get into all the names right now, but the guys that we certainly were priorities, we've been in contact quite a bit with, and that's going to continue right through till July 1st, of course, maybe after. But yeah, it's been. I can't tell you how many conversations with all those agents. It's been a lot.
So
go ahead.
So those unrestricted free agents that we're talking about are Dante Fabro, Justin Danforth, Ivan Provorov, James Van Riemsdyk, and Sean Corrali. Now, I think Fabro would be number one on my list that I would want to bring back. I think JVR is number two. I think you cannot discount what his presence meant to this team. One, on the ice, because he was a different kind of guy. Him and Voronkov and Boone, they're those guys that will go and just live in the blue right in front of the goaltender and make life hell for the opposing goaltender. And we saw him chip in 16 goals last year. But I think his presence in the room, he's a guy that's played for Philadelphia. He's played for Boston. He's played for Toronto. He's been all around the league. He's been on very good teams. I think JVR is a guy that, to me, has to be back on this team this year.
And that was another solid move that Waddell made last year, kind of an under-the-radar move. And he did. JVR had a very solid year, brought that veteran presence. And let me ask you this. So, like, when the Preds released Fabro, was that like a surprise? He was like the number 6 pick for them. I think it was a previous regime, but he was a number 6 pick, still relatively young, and they just put him on waivers? Was that a surprise when that happened?
I think it was pretty much a surprise, and it was just, it never really clicked for him in Nashville for whatever reason. And we know Nashville's a team that's always had great defensemen. They went, Shea Weber and Ryan Suter right into the Roman Yossi years. And they've always had quality, good young defensemen. And for some reason, it just didn't work with Fabro. It's one of those classic cases where a change of scenery was needed. Dylan, I know you are a big Jackets guy as well. Of the unrestricted free agents, who would you like them to bring back the most? And then what do you want to see them do with the 2 picks tonight?
So I'm with you. I think it's JVR. I think it was so underrated how well he played. Big glue guy, played well when people were injured. I'm looking at the trade rumors. The first name that I saw to use those picks, Rasmus Andersson. We talked about the right wing or right shot defenseman that they need. I think he's a perfect fit. I don't know what they would need to give up for him. I don't know if they would be both picks, prospects, 1 pick and some prospects. I mean, the Jackets have some prospects that people want, so you might see them combine 1 or 2 of the draft picks with some prospects to get a player like Rasmus Andersson.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Anderson and Noah Dobson, the 2 right shot defensemen out there that might be available that the Jackets could get their hands on. Another guy, if they sign Fabro, another guy I could see the Jackets going after to kind of replace Provorov would be a guy like a Bowen Byram from the Buffalo Sabres, who is a good young defenseman, a former number 4 pick in the draft, kind of the same production as Provorov. Just the one thing with Provorov, is he's going to play every game. We will talk to Aaron Portzline. He covers the Jackets for The Athletic, probably the best in the business on the Jackets beat. He will join us next and discuss this Jackets not only weekend, but the next week coming as well. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
Level up your summer projects with 4th of July savings on top brand cordless power tools from the Home Depot. Whether you're working on a fence, a planter box, or a new workbench, get the power and runtime you need with the Ryobi One Plus 18-volt 2 toolkit from the Home Depot for only $99, was $139. Get 4th of July savings on the cordless power you need to make summer projects easier than ever. Right now at the Home Depot.
The best mornings
in the morning light
start with Wrangler.
Pull on my jeans and I feel all right.
Jeans, jackets, and shirts that get your day started on the right foot.
I pull my blue jeans on. I pull my blue jeans on.
Good mornings make for better days.
I pull my blue jeans on. I pull my blue jeans on.
Wrangler, for the ride of life.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. T&Cs apply. Available in app only.
Matty Ice here from McDaniel GM Superstore in Marion. Are you looking for an affordable family car? Then the Chevy Traverse is for you. This month at McDaniel GM Superstore, you can get up to $3,000 off MSRP on a 2025 Traverse. Plus, qualified buyers can finance at 6.8% for 72 months. They are just a short drive north of Route 23 in Marion, or you can visit McDanielGMSuperstore.com. McDaniel GM Superstore, where great deals meet a century of trust. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by Newman Roofing. For all your roofing, gutter, or siding needs, call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit online at newmanroofing.com.
What's up on this Friday is the Columbus Blue Jackets. The NHL draft starts tonight. The Jackets with 2 picks in that draft, number 14 and 20. And then NHL free agency gets underway on Tuesday. The Jackets hoping to bolster this roster that just came up a point short of the playoffs last year. When we talk Jackets, we always like to do it with Aaron Portzline, who covers the team for The Athletic. Porty, I get the feeling, I'm hoping at least, that this is the beginning of a busy week for you.
72 hours? What is it? Maybe 96 hours could be nutso. Yeah, and you get the sense, I think, too, that if the Blue Jackets end up taking both of those picks tonight, there will be many people disappointed, because I think the sense is that they're shooting a little bit bigger than a couple of mid-round picks added to the prospect pool.
Yeah, Porty, what do you think the most likely scenario is tonight? I know that's a loaded question. Do you think they're going to keep both picks, trade both picks, keep one, trade one? What's the most likely scenario in your book?
Well, I think this draft is going to have to play out in order for that to happen. I mean, this is a wide open draft, so that helps them. I keep hearing people say this is not a very good draft. I'm not really sure if the whole of the talent matters as much as a player still being on the board that another team is desperate for or really thinks is a difference maker when the Blue Jackets pick at 14. That's down the board a little bit. I think in terms of draft pick, to be able to secure with that pick by itself a significant roster upgrade immediately, I think that's probably going to have to be a sweetener in a package for a player. I don't think they're going to trade that pick just to trade that pick. I don't think it's a situation certainly where they don't want to add 2 prospects. If they don't get the right deal, they'll go there. They'll take the players they've been preparing all year to select. If I had to bet, I bet one of them gets moved. I think there's an outside chance both of them get moved. I think the third most likely scenario, so the least likely, is that they keep both of those picks and take a player with them. I think probably one of them gets moved.
Porty, if they do keep both picks tonight, what do you have a feeling they would be looking for at 14 and 20?
Well, honestly, I think really at any year, you should be looking at just the best player. I don't think you have any business looking at positions necessarily. If 2 players are the same in your eyes, or rated the same, if everything else is equal, maybe you shade towards the positions that are harder to find. Maybe a right-handed defenseman goes up the list, a right-handed centerman goes up the list. But honestly, at 14, you're talking about a player that, if everything goes great, is probably 2 or 3 years away from even playing in the NHL, much less making a huge impact likely. And so to make a determination on who you're picking in this draft at 14 based upon your current roster is a little short-sighted, and I know Don Waddell is not a fan of that at all.
Porty, looking at goaltender, do you think that they'll buy out the last 2 years of Elvis's contract? And then do you think they're going to trade for a goalie, sign a goalie as a free agent, or maybe both?
Yeah, I mean, I think just that position by itself is an example of all of the moving parts that Don Waddell and his staff are dealing with. Is it possible that they buy the final 2 years out on Merzlikins? I think it is. He has said that they're not, considering or they don't want to do buyouts. That is the last resort. I would not expect it to have happened by now. There's no way. If there is even the smallest possible trade market for a player like Merzlikins, I think you drag it out as long as you can. You make it seem like you're not going to buy him out. Why would you acknowledge you're going to buy him out if you're trying to trade him?
Right.
So this buyout window closes on the 30th. So they've got time to get through the draft before they make that determination. I think they string along. I think they do want to change that position up. I really do. I think a buyout is the last resort, but is possible. And there's probably 3 or 4 goaltenders out there. None of them perfectly ideal, but I think there's some guys there that could bring stability to this position with Jet Greaves serving either as the backup or as the 1A.
Speaking with Aaron Portzline on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Aaron does a great job covering the Columbus Blue Jackets for The Athletic. Porter, you had a great article on The Athletic that came out this morning, just kind of outlining what the Blue Jackets need, what the Blue Jackets are looking for, what they want to improve this offseason. Now, this isn't you reporting, Porty, but in your perfect scenario, what would this Jackets offseason look like? Who would they bring in to fill some of those spots you outlined in your article?
Okay, so perfect scenario. I think perfect scenario, you find a right-handed, right-side defenseman for the top 4. And again, to the moving parts theme, if that guy is available via trade, if that's Rasmus Anderson, if that's Noah Dobson, there are quite a few candidates. Then they move on from Provorov. I think what we're seeing is they know where they stand. They know where Provorov stands. If they don't land that player, doesn't look like they're going to land that player. Say if Ekblad indicates that even if he does reach the market, he's not interested in coming to Columbus, then I think they circle back on Provorov and make a last-minute attempt to get that done. I think they want to get Fabro signed as well. They're looking for a right-handed centerman who can take face-offs. I think Corrali is moving on, so there's a replacement needed there. There are Brian Rust rumors from the Pittsburgh Penguins. He would make a lot of sense. He still has 3 years left on his deal, but a very productive player, veteran player, 2 cups under his belt. A goaltender fix, as we mentioned. So, and I think the dream, too, would be to add a top 6 winger. Now, is it possible to add all of these marquee positions in one off season? I'm not sure it is. And when you hear a GM say, January 1st isn't the finish line, and then in the summer moves to the start of the season isn't the finish line, we still have some opportunities. It gives you an indication that maybe that's going to be way too much to achieve. I think we can say safely, guys, that if they're going to have the big summer and even get 3 of those 4 things accomplished, it has to start tonight. It has to start at the NHL draft. The first-round picks are 2 chips they have to use. If they're not able to use them, then clearly some of the stuff's going to be put on hold this summer.
What do you think it would take to get Rasmus Anderson? You think it would be like both first-round picks, one of the picks, and a prospect or 2? Like roughly, what do you think it would take?
Yeah, you know what? I think that it all depends. I don't want to say a prospect because it depends on what prospect that is. I don't want to say a roster player because, right, if it's Cole Sillinger and 14, I would certainly think that is beyond fair, maybe too fair for me, especially if you don't think you can keep Anderson of Calgary. The one thing I think you can say, too, is that the Blue Jackets would want an opportunity to know that they can extend these players. And if there's not enough time to accomplish that before a trade is made, then I think you could certainly see some conditional picks added to it, that if they sign the player, Calgary also gets this. If they don't, the Blue Jackets hang on to it. I think you're looking at a player and a pick for sure. But again, if it's a lower level player, then maybe it's a player, a prospect, and a pick. If it's a significant player, a guy who plays a regular shift and is a contributor for the Blue Jackets, then I would think maybe it's that player, a pick, and maybe something coming back with Anderson from Calgary. So a lot of different scenarios to consider.
Porty will get you out here on this. The Jackets did make a couple moves yesterday. They send goaltender Daniil Tarasov to the Florida Panthers for a 5th-round pick in this year's draft, and then a deal that most may not think is that big of a deal, but I think it's a pretty significant one for the Jackets. They trade Cam Butler to the Minnesota Wild. They reacquire Brendan Gaunce, a guy that will probably be a captain down in Cleveland and that you can call up in a pinch to the NHL team. Just talk a little bit about those moves that the Jackets made yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Tarasov was not in the future plans here in Columbus. It makes sense on both ends. Florida knows this player. Bill Zito drafted him when he was the assistant general manager here in Columbus. Also, the Panthers, after winning the Cup, are trying to keep their big three, Ekblad, Marchand, and Bennett. And in order to do that, they had to know that they were going to get a goaltender for under $1 million. Well, welcome Daniil Tarasov. He's a restricted free agent. The Blue Jackets, I think, were telling the world that they were going to qualify him. I'm not sure that that's true if they weren't able to move him. So to get a 6th-round pick from a player you were just going to potentially let walk, I think that's a real bonus. If he did stick around here, I do not think he was in the NHL plans. So, a wise move. The minor league trade is just that. I think Gaunce is a guy that, to me, he's never really looked out of place in the NHL. He's played up, I think, with 4 different NHL teams. A bit of a journeyman at this level, but a really good AHL guy. As you said, a captain last season in Cleveland. I know one person smiling, well, 2. Brendan Gaunce was certainly smiling yesterday. Trent Vogelhuber, coach of the AHL Cleveland, would have been over the moon, too, because that is Gaunce is clearly one of Vogelhuber's guys.
He's the best. Check out his work over at The Athletic on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Hopefully we're seeing a lot of that work in the next couple of weeks because that means the Jackets are making some moves and improving that roster. Porty, thanks so much for the time. Hopefully it's busy, but not too busy for you.
Let's go. Let's hold off summer as long as we can.
Aaron Portzline of the Athletic joining us on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Porty's work on the Jackets, to me, is worth a subscription to the Athletic. If you want to hear some more Jackets talk, Rothman and Ice later today, we'll have the head coach of your Columbus Blue Jackets, Dean Evison, on at 2:30. Ohio State bids? They're really good at a lot of sports. We'll tell you how good coming up next. It's Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
Tweet from a listener. Are you carrying the Buckeye game today? Considering we've never not carried one, yes. The answer is yes. The Fan.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Summer's heating up, and so are the deals at Germain Toyota of Columbus. Whether you're cruising to the lake or hauling your weekend gear, Germain, well, they've got the truck to help you get it done. Right now, get 2.99 APR for up to 72 months on the rugged 2024 Tacoma, or step up to the powerful 2025 Tundra, also 2.99 for 72 months. These summer savings, they won't last forever. So visit Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road, or online at germaintoyota.net.
He shoots, he scores! It's a great time of year to be a fan, but the fun stops when you or a loved one can't control your gambling. Maryhaven is here to help with in-person, virtual, and group options. Learn more at maryhaven.com.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I totally get it. But the good news is there are alternatives to the CPAP machine. And Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and of course, stops your snoring. That's the main point. It's quick and comfortable and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and now he's expanding his practice to better serve his patients with a brand new location in Marysville. I love Marysville. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. Do not delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. You can also visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. And now, sleepbettermarysville.com too.
Hi, this is Ron from the Good Feet store. Are you standing on painful feet all day? Don't lose hope. We want to help you live without pain. Discover your options and visit goodfeet.com. Or stop in today at the Good Feet store on Polaris Parkway in Grove City.
Road trip! This summer at Tire Discounters, your tires are your passport to savings, because you're driving to Paris,
Texas,
then it's off to Rome,
Georgia,
and you'll be kissing the Blarney Stone in Dublin,
Ohio.
Right now, save up to $494 when you buy 4 tires, and that includes a free alignment and oil change. Stop at Tire Discounters before you see the world.
Hello, I'm Joe Cordell, founder of Cordell & Cordell. Divorce is complicated, especially when your small business or professional practice is involved. At Cordell & Cordell, we understand that these assets raise unique valuation and allocation issues. For 35 years, we've helped doctors, lawyers, and small business owners navigate divorce with confidence. Call us at Cordell & Cordell. Let me tell you, I understand on a personal level, your business is much more than a job. It's your legacy.
10 West Broad, Columbus. CordellCordell.com.
The Fan is the official station of summertime. Sipping on a lemonade, the smell of fresh-cut grass in the air, and Common Man playing fart noises on the radio.
Was that a fart?
Ah, summer. The Fan, Ohio's summer destination.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, HIMS can help. Through HIMS.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at HIMS.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but HIMS can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to HIMS.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Carpenter Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electric, and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep your home comfortable. The Fan.
If you love a good pie analogy,
think of the cap as a pie, and once you take out one piece, there's less left for the next guy.
Then this is the radio show for you. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bids, during the break, you just got bit by something I think all of us have, because it's still awkward that USC and UCLA are in the Big Ten.
Yes, so I'm looking at the director standings, and our Patrick Murphy from Bucknuts did a story, and I'm like, he said Ohio State was third in the Big Ten. I'm looking at the top 10. I'm not seeing any other Big Ten teams except for Ohio State. Then you look at it, you're like, well, there's USC and UCLA. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. They're not just in the league for football. It's for every sport. So, yeah, I completely forgot USC and UCLA.
So the Learfield Directors Cup standings have come out. And if you don't know what that is, the Directors Cup is an award given annually by the National Association of Collegiate Directors of Athletics to colleges and universities in the United States with the most success in collegiate athletics. This has been something that's been around since 1993 and 1994. Ohio State has been one of the better teams in the country in this. They've never won the Directors Cup, which I thought was kind of surprising. They've finished second 3 times. Those years were the 2010-2011 season, the 2015-16 season, and the 2016-17 season. All 3 of those times they finished second to Stanford. Ohio State this year finishes 8th in the Learfield Directors Cup. Texas won it for the 4th time in their school history this year. They were followed by USC, Stanford, North Carolina, UCLA, Tennessee, Florida, and Ohio State. The Buckeyes 15 times now they have finished in the top 10 of this, and again, the 3 times they finished second. I was actually a little surprised by this because of the national championship and some of the success the other sports have had. Lacrosse, we know, had a great season this year for Ohio State. The women's basketball team was pretty good. The softball team had a good year this year. Men's tennis, we know, has been dominant in the Big Ten for a long time. I was a little surprised that Ohio State was 8th, but still, the gamut of the spectrums of athletics, we know Ohio State always does well.
Yeah, and being a big baseball fan, it pains me to say this, but like sports like baseball really hold Ohio State back in stuff like this, okay? Because they were the worst team in the Big Ten this year in baseball. Mm-hmm. Now, their new head coach, I actually think he was a good hire, which is crazy to say that they just had the worst record, but he inherited a mess. And then a lot of the guys like transferred out because they were getting like good NIL money from Southern schools. One of them's actually transferring back to Ohio State. The shortstop.
Casimir.
Yeah, exactly. So that's good that he's going to transfer back. So, yes, with sports like baseball, I think women's volleyball had a bad year, especially for their standards. But, yeah, baseball finishing dead last in the Big Ten, that had to hurt.
So this Director's Cup, again, it's been around since 93, 94. And I'm not sure if this is any surprise because they have, 36 athletic sports. But Stanford has won this thing 26 times. 31 times, which is every time they have finished in the top 10. They finished third this year, as we mentioned. This was the closest Director's Cup ever, as the top three were separated by just 4.25 points. For comparison, Texas won it this year with 1,255.25 points. Ohio State, who finished eighth, had 1,032.25 points. Here were the sports that contributed to Ohio State's score in the Director's Cup. You've got 10 women's teams that made an NCAA field and contributed points. Soccer, 9th place overall. Cross country, 32nd. Hockey was 2nd, women's hockey. Swimming and diving, 14th. Basketball, 17th. Gymnastics, 17th. Tennis, 9th. Softball, 17th. Track and field, 22nd. And golf, 24th. 8 Ohio State men's teams qualified. Of course, you've got the national championship with the football team. Soccer was 3rd, wrestling 5th, gymnastics 7th, hockey 9th, swimming and diving 16th, and then lacrosse 9th and tennis 9th. So again, Ohio State, when you've got 33 sports, a lot of times it's hard to be good in all of them, but Ohio State, for the most part, and you mentioned baseball, unfortunately, that is a rare occurrence where Ohio State is not really good in something.
Yeah, and you look at the tennis program. Ty Tucker's done a great job with the tennis program. He's been there forever. He was a former great tennis player himself at Ohio State. And every year, the women's tennis program, the men's tennis program is one of the best in the nation. When I see the men's tennis program finish 9th, I'm thinking, so it was a kind of a shaky year for them, finishing 9th. They're in the top 10, top 5 almost every year.
When I first saw this list, I thought about a conversation we had a couple of weeks ago on the show. Are these sports going to stick around? And I feel like for Ohio State specifically, it's going to be more impressive in the future if they're able to continue to finish high in this Director's Cup. And for the nation at large, how are programs going to disperse the funding of each program? And I think when you see this list, it's going to be the programs that were able to manage NIL the best in the future of college athletics.
I just don't see a scenario in the future. I don't know how many years, guys, but I just don't see how you can keep 36 sports, and I hope I'm wrong. I think it's really cool that Ohio State has all those sports, but with everything with NIL, I mean, eventually you're going to run out of money, right? And you're going to have certain schools across the country that specialize in certain sports, right? And then, I don't know how you can keep some of these sports, can they keep fencing? Can they keep pistol team and all that? I don't know. I hope so. I hope they can keep those Olympic sports, but some of those lose a lot of money, so we'll see what happens.
You mentioned fencing. I forgot to mention them. The co-ed fencing team finished 6th at the NCAA championships. Dylan, it's interesting that you brought that up because a certain sports figure just talked about Alabama and how they are going to distribute their money and try to keep all of their Olympic sports, as a lot of them a lot of people call them, all of their Olympic sports going. We know Ross Bjork has talked about that and wants to do it as well. We will talk about that coming up after a top of the hour Sports Center. Next, it's Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
Buckeye games have been airing on WBNS since before you were born and before your parents were born and before Abraham Lincoln was born. Trust me, you're home of the Buckeyes, the Fan.
Men, the summer is here. Longer days, warmer nights, and romance in the air. Intimate dinners, walks on the beach, dancing in the moonlight. But if you have erectile dysfunction, you know it can ruin romance, both for you and the one you love. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. And if you have ED, don't let another summer go by without getting treated. Because intimacy is one of the greatest things in life. And fear of not being able to perform should not be something you have to deal with. At Tri-State Men's Health, we're ED experts. We've successfully treated tens of thousands of men. Our protocols work when others don't, and we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. You could even last up to an hour or more and perform like you haven't in years. So call us. Your initial appointment is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Get summer blockbuster savings at Coughlin Kia, Central Ohio's largest volume Kia dealer. Right now, take up to $6,000 off MSRP on any new Kia in stock. Plus, get free maintenance for a full year when you buy. Get any new Kia with up to $6,000 off MSRP. Visit CoglinKia.com.
Largest Kia dealer based on current ground stock at all 4 Coughlin Kia locations. 2025 Kia Sorento XY. MSRP $47,990. $3,000 Coughlin discount. $3,000 factory rebate. Residency restrictions may apply. See dealer for details. N7725.
This summer, Giant Eagle is making a big splash with a carefree summer sweepstakes and your chance to win free groceries for a year. This June, just spend $10 or more shopping for backyard barbecues, road trip essentials, campfire treats, and everything in between. Then swipe your loyalty card for your chance to win. Only at Giant Eagle. No purchase necessary. Sweepstakes ends 6/30/25. For official rules, visit GiantEagleCarefreeSweeps.com.
This is Corey Sickles with Safe Harbor Wealth Advisors. Get a complimentary second opinion to see if your portfolio is properly designed to achieve your goals before it's too late. Visit safeharboroh.com to schedule a complimentary meeting. safeharboroh.com.
Master Grillers Unite. The grilling season never ends at Billiards Plus. Come see their best-in-class grills for yourself and check out Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family-owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Let's be honest, we could all use a little vacation from the ordinary. But with Tim Hortons' new refreshers, you don't need to pack your bags. Just sip, relax, and enjoy your refreshing 16-ounce vacation. With tropical mango packed with real pineapple and mango pieces. And strawberry watermelon kiwi featuring real pieces of strawberry and kiwi. Also try it with lemonade or coconut milk. A choose-your-own taste bud adventure. Head to Tim's for the new refreshers. Your 16-ounce vacation awaits. Only at your neighborhood Tim Hortons. At participating U.S. restaurants.
Boating season is finally here, and Buckeye Lake Marina is your go-to destination for all your on-the-water needs. With the largest inventory in Central Ohio, you can choose from top brands like Bennington, South Bay, Crown Line, and more. Buckeye Lake Marina has it all. Pontoon boats, luxury tri-toon boats, even merch. Open 7 days a week to serve you better. Find your next dream boat at Buckeye Lake Marina. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com today for all your on-the-water needs. The good life, the lake life, starts at Buckeye Lake Marina.
Small's here. It's time to turn things up a notch. This summer, don't binge watch shows. Binge s'mores by the campfire. Press pause on the podcast and press play on the warm weather vibes. Here's your chance to win $10,000 for your ultimate summer. What are you waiting for? Take your shot with 5 Hour Energy and make this summer your best summer ever. Visit 5heshot.com for full details and rules and enter today. No purchase necessary. Ends June 30th, 2025.
Evan Cohen here. We all know breakfast is an important part of your day, but when you're traveling for work and your hotel doesn't offer any, you're forced to make do with peanuts and an energy bar as you sprint off to your shift. But if you book a room at La Quinta by Wyndham, you can enjoy their free Bright Side breakfast featuring delicious baked goods, fruit, eggs, yogurt, and waffles. They refuse to let you go to work hungry and aim to send you off fueled up. Tonight, La Quinta, tomorrow you shine. Book direct at lq.com.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Ryan Baker. The CBJ making a couple of trades yesterday. First, they send goaltender Daniil Tarasov to the Florida Panthers in exchange for a 5th-round pick in this weekend's draft. Then they sent minor league forward Cam Butler to the Minnesota Wild. They reacquire forward Brendan Gaunce. Round 1 of the NHL draft tonight at 7. The Columbus Blue Jackets have picks 14 and 20. General Manager Don Waddell has said that one or both of those picks could be used to bolster the roster this upcoming season. Catch the Blue Jackets draft special tonight at 6 right here on The Fan. The Cleveland Guardians shut out by the Toronto Blue Jays 6-0 yesterday. Heck of a pitching performance from Kevin Gausman. He throws 8 innings of 2-hit ball in the win. And the Columbus Clippers are on a 6-game winning streak. They beat the Iowa Cubs 6-5 yesterday. Breaking sports news as it happens on The Fan.
If you say something with enough confidence, it must be true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Second hour, Friday edition of the program, Bishop and Friends. No Bo Bishop, no Eric Reeser. I'm Ryan Baker. I've got my friend Dave Biddle of Bucknuts and On the Money right here on The Fan with me. Dylan Gonzalez on the other side of the glass. He's been with us all week. So last segment, Bids, we were talking a little bit about Ohio State. And we look at everything with Ohio State a lot of times through football-colored glasses, right? Like, football is king. It drives everything. We want the basketball program to get better, and we'll talk a little bit about basketball coming up later on in the show. But there's kind of a standard of excellence here at Ohio State with the sports programs because Ohio State, 1, has so many of them, and 2, they've been pretty good in a lot of them. Like women's ice hockey has been dominant. You talked about Ty Tucker in the tennis program. The men's volleyball program, what was it, 16, 17, 18 there, had such a dominant run. They won back-to-back national championships. If Ohio State is going to put a team out on the field, the ice, the court, the whatever it is, chances are they're going to be really good at it.
Except the baseball diamond. Hopefully we can get back to that.
There's been times, right?
There's been times. You know what's interesting? Right now, I think that there's more Ohio State players right now in MLB at the same time than any time in my life. You have like Dylan Dingler is having a good year for the Tigers. Canzone's in the major leagues. You have Ryan Felter, who's a pitcher for the Rockies. Canzone's with, I believe, the Diamondbacks, maybe the Mariners.
Somebody's with the Mariners because they just got recalled last week, I believe.
That's probably Canzone. And Canzone and Dylan Dingler, both Ohio kids. So it's pretty cool they got. Maybe those guys can help out because, you know, NIL right now, you want to talk about fighting an uphill battle. I mean, these Southern schools, as you know, the SEC, ACC, even some of the Big 12 schools, they take college baseball super seriously, and they're pumping a lot of money in there. Even have Texas Tech, man, they have that rich oil booster that's pumping a lot of money into football. They bought a softball player for $1 million. She was at Stanford. They brought her to Texas Tech, panned out. So this is the type of money that's being thrown around in the South. I'm talking about softball there, but now baseball players are making a lot. It's really hard for Ohio State to even come close to keeping up with the Joneses there. So maybe some of these big money Major League Baseball guys can pitch in and help the NIL situation out.
It's interesting. You talk about the incident here in the College World Series, the Softball World Series recently with Kennedy going from, Oklahoma to Texas Tech, and they make a nice little run. Jasmine Burns, the catcher for Ohio State this year, had a great year, hit like 26 home runs. She's in the transfer portal and heading south probably because the NIL money is greater there. Bids, you know, because you and I have talked about this a lot, one of the things that I worried about the most in this new NIL paying players era is, are we going to lose some of these other sports? Because I always use the example of men's volleyball here at Ohio State because I used to do some work at some of those games. No ticket prices. You can just anybody can walk right in for free. There's no parking. The only thing that you make any revenue off of, if any, at an Ohio State men's volleyball game is the concessions. And the men's volleyball, not only now that the Big Ten has expanded, but always, because there's not a lot of volleyball programs, they're traveling to USC, to UCLA, to Long Beach State. They're traveling all over the country just for games to play, and that's not cheap. So it's a sport that is bringing in nothing, but yet still costs quite a bit because you have scholarships, you have travel, and all of that. But yet we talked about the men's volleyball team has won a couple national championships. I've always worried about those sports going away.
Yeah, and I hope they don't, but it just seems like I'll be very surprised if we're sitting here 5-10 years from now and Ohio State still has 36 varsity sports. I hope they do. I think it's great that they do. They're the largest athletic department in the country and giving all these young people a chance to play these sports. And then it helps our country in the Olympics. Not that everybody who plays sports at Ohio State's an American, but you know what I'm saying. Real quick, I want to get to a question we have on Twitter. Yeah, I still call it Twitter, not X. This is from RG4 Ryan. He says, should Ryan Day have been fired immediately after the Michigan game last year? And I responded, well, obviously not. Considering what happened the next 4 games, it's easy to say that now.
Yeah.
It's easy to say that now. But, like, we are looking at it now, and it's just a different era. It used to be impossible to win the national championship if you lost to Michigan. And then in 2022, they lost to Michigan, and still they came pretty close to beating Georgia, and I think they would have beat TCU. And then last year, of course, I still can't believe they lost to Michigan. Just a dumb game plan. But then we'll never know, Ryan. If they don't lose that game, we'll never know. Do they still win the national championship? Because they had that come to Jesus moment. You know, they aired their grievances and everything, and then everybody was doubting them. And I think that just, we'll never know. Maybe they would have won it regardless. But no, Ryan Day should not have been fired immediately after the Michigan game because now he's a national champion, and we'll see what happens.
I didn't know that was a question anymore. Like, I understood the question the Sunday after.
Yes.
But I didn't know now, in hindsight, after winning the national championship, that was even a question. Russ Bjork, though, talked about keeping all of these Olympic sports, and Ohio State wants to do that. Well, Alabama obviously wants to as well. Adam Brenneman, he does some work for CBS Sports, also a little bit for Front Office Sports, I believe, too. He talked about Alabama's plan moving forward with the $20.5 million that's been allotted to pay athletes, what Alabama is going to do with that.
Alabama just laid out their plan for the $20.5 million revenue sharing era in college sports, and here's the shocker. They're doing it without cutting non-revenue sports, so those Olympic sports are going to stay. I've talked to some athletic directors across the country, and a lot of them are panicking. They're preparing to drop those programs, the Olympic sports, left and right. Alabama's saying, not for us. Here's the breakdown. $2.5 million is going to go directly to scholarships across all sports. The remaining $18 million will be split among the programs, the players, the teams that actually bring in the money. Football and men's basketball get the biggest chunk, obviously. Then it trickles down to sports that drive ticket sales. Think softball, think baseball, gymnastics, women's basketball. It's clear, obviously, at Alabama, football is the engine, but Alabama's not ditching the rest of the train, and I love this trend. This might be the most balanced, forward-thinking revenue plan we've seen from any Power 4 school so far. And if others follow Alabama's lead, we might just avoid the mass extinction of Olympic sports and college athletics.
So I think it's interesting that he talks about that and says, well, Alabama's got the best plan ever. Well, their plan sounds pretty similar to what Ohio State is going to do. Now, with Alabama, they don't carry as many sports as Ohio State, so that $2.5 million that they're allotting to go to scholarships over all sports obviously isn't going to go as far here at Ohio State as it will at Alabama, but the same thing, $2.5 million, new scholarships, all the sports. Well, it says various sports for Ohio State. $18 million will be allocated for direct payments to student athletes for their name, image, and likeness. And Ohio State is going to focus on football, men's basketball, women's basketball, and women's volleyball to start with that. That all sounds good, right? But what happens when, and I don't know, and maybe the bill that Rand Paul, I don't know if you saw this, the bill that Rand Paul proposed yesterday to try to get antitrust laws not to affect the NCAA and these teams, maybe that will, and maybe they were looking at this when they did that. What happens, though, when a men's volleyball player says, hey, why am I not getting as much as a women's volleyball player? Or why am I not getting as much as a men's basketball player? Or, and this is crazy, why am I not getting as much as a football player?
That'd be an easy conversation, wouldn't it? Because you're not bringing in nearly as much money. I think the young men and women at Ohio State that play non-revenue sports, meaning that those sports lose money, if you're in a full ride scholarship, you're not making any money for the university, you're actually losing money. and you're on a full ride scholarship, especially with what an education costs these days, that's a great deal for these non-revenue. Be careful what you wish for. Football, they deserve to get paid. They're bringing in a lot of money. Men's basketball and women's basketball, they bring in some money. I think every other sport at Ohio State loses money. Every other sport, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like football, for the most part, has been floating all these boats. You know,
right.
It has been raising the tides for everyone. But again, how do you? There's nothing in here, right, in these rules that says, well, sports that generate money are going to get more. This was supposed to have been an equal distribution of this money across athletic programs. So I just wonder, these plans are great, and in theory, they're going to save these other sports. But again, I think you're going to see lawsuits coming. There's going to be Title IX stuff in here involved as well. I put in just as much time as this person. Why are they getting more than me?
Yeah,
right, wrong, or indifferent?
Yeah, but I think that's people are going to be like, because you're not bringing in the money. Like, why do you deserve to get the whole reason that this is even a thing, NIL, is because for years football players were watching all these millions come in. Coaches are making $10 million a year. Assistant coaches are making $2 million a year. Where's my piece of the pie at? And the money keeps going up. That makes sense to me. If you're playing a sport that loses money, be careful what you wish for. If you're going to say, I want more, I want money here. Well, the sport you play is losing money. You're on a full ride scholarship. You should be happy.
With that being said, though, and I know things are different, I'm just looking at it from the Ohio State lens, and you just mentioned football, basketball, women's basketball, probably the only ones that are in the green as far as sports at Ohio State. Then those should be the only sports that are getting money if we're going by that. But again, these lawsuits have come up before saying that all these athletes deserved money. It's one of those things, Bids, with this, and we talked about it with this House settlement. You get a couple of answers, you have a whole hell of a lot more questions.
And we know, at least I think, the first time this NIL clearinghouse, they call it NIL Go, and they have to approve any NIL deal over $600. Ryan, and I know the House settlement was signed off by a federal judge. I get that. But the Supreme Court ruled 4 years ago, the language is pretty clear. It wasn't just about NIL. It was about you cannot prevent college athletes from profiting in addition to their scholarship. That's exactly what this would be. So I think the first time an athlete, let's say Carson Beck, so he's making $4 million at Miami. Let's say this NIL clearinghouse says, no, that's not market value. You can't make $4 million. I guarantee you Carson Beck and his lawyer would take that to court, and I bet you they would win.
Another reason why they're trying to get the NCAA exempt from these antitrust lawsuits because of those exact things. One player at Ohio State that I don't think is going to have to worry about money at all is Caleb Downs. One talking head really loves Caleb Downs. We'll tell you who next and let you hear from him. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
All the 10 TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate. The Fan.
Our double hung is as good as it gets. There's something really simple. It's called an interlock. We interlock our windows. The interlock is the absolute best way to alleviate air infiltration. With the interlock, it's harder to break into. When you interlock the sashes, it makes a better window. It's just a darn good window, and we're very proud of it.
Call Rizzotti today at 777-4806.
He shoots, he scores! No matter your sport, it's a great time of year to be a fan. But the fun stops when you or a loved one can't control your gambling. At Maryhaven, we're here to help. Whether it's gambling, drugs, alcohol, or mental health, you don't have to go it alone. With in-person, virtual, and group options, Maryhaven meets you where you are. Always judgment-free. Go to maryhaven.com today. That's maryhaven.com.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. T&Cs apply. Available in app only.
Excuse me, did someone say jackpot? The Ohio Lottery's Mega Millions jackpot is up to $348 million. You heard that right, $348 million. Jackpots start at $50 million and grow faster than ever. And drawings are every Tuesday and Friday. With the new built-in multiplier, all non-jackpot prizes are multiplied between 2 and 10 times. Play Mega Millions today. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
This just in from the Lindsay Honda Newsroom. It's our big anniversary sale. 0% for up to 60 months has been extended on all new Hondas. Try the new 2025 CR-V LX all-wheel drive with 0% financing.
Lower your rate, lower your payment.
Save thousands on hundreds of new Hondas when you buy now.
With so many Hondas, why would you go anywhere else?
Shop the big, the beautiful Lindsay Honda now. Visit lindsayhonda.com for details.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix that's guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with lower prices on over 1,000 items. Hand it to Kroger shoppers. You never compromise. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
Save big on 18-ounce containers of blueberries or 12-ounce containers of raspberries. Right now, they're only $3.77 each with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Austin and Berm are back with a new daily podcast, the ultimate OSU Football Insiders. You know, it's refreshing to have some smart people working here from time to time.
The Beat with Austin and Berm on the 10 TV Plus app.
Subscribe today.
2 hours ago, Kyle arrived at the bar.
Hey, what's everyone drinking?
30 minutes ago, Kyle got his friends another round of drinks.
Cheers!
5 minutes ago, Kyle decided to drive home drunk. A minute ago, a law enforcement officer pulled up behind Kyle.
Sir, have you been drinking tonight?
A chain of events that began 2 hours ago is about to change Kyle's whole world. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
And now, Public Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Scott Damaro.
While students may be out of school for the summer, Ohio's public school educators continue to work hard to make sure everyone can have a successful school year ahead. Whether you're taking part in professional development opportunities or working daily to keep our school buildings clean and running smoothly, we say thank you for your dedication.
Public Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Happy Friday, everybody. I wish I had an update to our forecast, but it remains the same. We'll have chances of showers and thunderstorms developing this afternoon into the early evening. Otherwise, partly to mostly sunny skies. Highs in the mid to low 90s, and our feels like in the triple digits in some spots. For tonight, lows down into the 70s, and then for Saturday, a little bit cooler. Highs in the upper 80s, but we will see chances of showers and thunderstorms in the forecast. Otherwise, mostly to partly sunny skies. For The Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfolo with the 10 Weather Impact Forecast.
Catch the latest from the world of Ohio State athletics. Weeknights at 6 on the Buckeye Show. News, special guests, and everything scarlet and gray. The Fan. With friends like these, who needs former college football players? This is Bishop and Friends.
It is Bishop and Friends, and we here at Bishop and Friends are sponsored by the Diamond Cellar, your true jeweler for over 78 years. Bids earlier this week, the EA College Sports game rankings came out for the players, and Jeremiah Smith was the number one at 99. Caleb Downs was number 2 at 96. And I think it's very rare for a college football team to have the best offensive player in the country and probably the best defensive player in the country as well. And I think that's one of the reasons, obviously the myriads of weapons that Ohio State has. But you're losing a lot from that team last year. You're going to have 8 new starters on the defensive side of the football, brand new running backs. You're replacing a guy like Emeka Egbuka, and you don't know who your quarterback is. You think we know, and even if you do know, it's unproven, right? You just haven't seen it, but yet Ohio State favored to win the national championship in everybody's probably at least top 3 in their preseason polls. A lot of people will have them 1 or 2. It's just pretty crazy that you lose all of that, but you have Jeremiah Smith and you have Caleb Downs, and people were like, oh, they're going to be fine.
Yeah, it's interesting. They are the co-betting favorites with Texas to win the national championship. Ohio State obviously has never repeated as a national champion. If Ryan Day is able to do that, he'll become not only the first Ohio State coach to win back-to-back national championships, he'll join Woody Hayes as the only one to ever win multiple championships. Do I think Ohio State's going to win it all this year? I do not. I would take the field over Ohio State, but they'll have a chance for sure. They're very talented. But here's the thing, man. You hit on it. I mean, they lost 14 draft picks, and a lot of those guys were like the epitome of a great leader. Like Will Howard, can you imagine a better leader than that? Emeka Egbuka. Some of these guys were just exactly Lathan Ransom. I could go on Jack Sawyer. Tuimoloau in his own way. Sawyer was definitely a great, Captain Jack, of course.
Cody Simon.
I mean, you could go on and on and on. Even the running backs were leaders. So some of the guys on the offensive line, Donovan Jackson was a leader. So they're going to be young. They're not going to have as much depth. Like last year, you had a Caden McDonald coming off the bench. Who's going to be that backup D tackle that can come off the bench? I like their starting D tackles with Caden McDonald and Edric Houston. Who's going to be the Caden McDonald of last year, though? I like their depth at D end. Obviously, they're stacked at wide receiver, but leadership is a concern. Julian Sayin, I think, will be a good quarterback here, and this year. When will he be a good quarterback, though? Game 1 against Texas, that's a lot to ask, but I do think eventually he's going to be a good quarterback here. My question is when. And another thing, Ryan, speaking of Texas, we talked about the youth on this team and losing all the guys they lost and maybe the lack of leadership. It's also a very tough schedule they're going to have to navigate. I mean, not just Texas, and not just at Michigan, not just Penn State here, but games like at Illinois. Okay, a game like, even though I don't think Wisconsin's going to be good, a game like at Wisconsin is not going to be a gimme. Going up to Camp Randall, Luke's not done a good job, but he's entering year 3. Going to Washington won't be easy. Again, I think Ohio State's going to beat Wisconsin. They'll beat Washington, but those are games that are not gimmies. Illinois could be a tough one. That's one of my favorite bets, actually, Bake, is Illinois over 7.5 wins. I can't believe it's only 7.5. They were 10-3 last year. Of course, we're talking about regular season, so they were 9-3 in the regular season last year. I think they'll be at least that good this year, and you could go 8-4 and you win the bet. I mean, Illinois, they have their quarterback back. They got a bunch of guys back. I think they're going to go at least 9-3 this year.
Dylan knows because we've talked a little Illinois this week with Brett Bielema, and we'll get into that later on and what we learned. But I'm not only Illinois over, I'm Illinois 5-1 to make the playoff.
Attaboy.
Because they were, as you mentioned, in the regular season last year, 9-3. Their schedule is cupcake this year. They return Altmaier. They return 5 offensive linemen. I know they lost their running back to Georgia, but Bielema went on about the other 4. He compared it to a room with Monte Ball and Melvin Gordon, who were 2 pretty good guys at Wisconsin. I don't see any way how Illinois doesn't make the college football playoff this year.
They would have to go 9-3 to not make it. I think even 10-2, presuming that they would lose a close game to Ohio State, they didn't get blown out in Champaign. I think 10-2 Illinois might sneak in.
No Penn State, no Michigan, no Oregon on the schedule.
Interesting.
Just Ohio State. That's their only real tough game.
Yeah, it's like Indiana last year. Not quite as easy as Indiana's was super easy, other than having to play Ohio State.
And another year with Bielema in his system. And we've kind of gone off there a little bit. Heron in the YouTube chat, who is a Michigan fan, but we still love him, a loyal listener, mentions Ohio State also has brand new offensive coordinator, brand new defensive coordinator too. But I will say this, the guy we are going to talk about here in Caleb Downs, I'm super excited to see how Matt Patricia uses him. Because Jim Knowles was great, but Jim Knowles kind of has had his defense that he was going to play no matter what. And it was a defense that worked well. And last year he had guys that got into that system, they knew it, and they were used to it, and they played well. I'm so excited to see Ohio State be multiple on defense this year. And there's 2 things that I'm really excited about to see how Matt Patricia handles this defense. One, the linebackers. I think we'll see more 3 linebacker sets. You've got the athleticism of Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese. I think they're going to wreak havoc. The other thing is Caleb Downs. Because Caleb Downs, I feel, is a guy that you can move all over the place. You can come up and you can have him rush the quarterback. He can sit back and be a center fielder. He can come up and play the run. He can do all of those things. And here's Todd McShay with some pretty high praise that he's comparing a guy to that one of the best of all times in Caleb Downs.
I think he has the best instincts and recognition skills of any defensive back I've evaluated since
2002.
2002. Okay.
Yep.
Now, it was early in my scouting career at that point, but I remember distinctly being like, this cat's different. And then you hear about like the Tom Brady and the Peyton Manning stories of like they had him beat. There's no way. Like there's no way. And then like have them like after the fact go like, what did you see, man? What did you see? Now, like, I'm not running away with this thing and being like, he's the next Ed Reed, definitely, but I am saying, like, there's some things that stood out on tape about him with his instincts and recognition.
It's pretty high praise. Ed Reed's one of the best we've ever seen do it.
Yeah, if you compare a safety to Ed Reed, that's good business right there. And I know somebody like on our side on Bucknuts was giving Todd McShay a hard time saying, I can't believe that he mentioned that Caleb missed too many tackles last year. He only missed 10 all season. He played in 16 games. That's like, okay, so he did mention he needs to maybe miss not be in the double digits. I don't know. But to compare him to Ed Reed, like you said, Bake, I mean, that is as high as praise as you can get right there.
Steve Minch, who is Todd McShay's co-host on the McShay Show, talked about some of the things we just talked about with Caleb Downs.
I came in a defensive position because one of our listeners, when we were talking about Caleb Downs right after the draft and in the way too early mock, dropped, that's way too early for a box safety. And I came into it thinking, you know what, maybe I'm going to humor this and say, is this guy just a box safety because I love what he does in the box? We'll start there, right? I love when he plays close to the line of scrimmage. And why do I love it? Because I think he absolutely can erase tight ends. I think he matches up so well with tight ends in coverage. His ability to stay in their back pocket, the way he plays the ball against them. I think he's really good against the run close to the line of scrimmage. He gets stuck on blocks, yes, but he's aggressive. He's quick. He had 7.5 tackles for loss last year. So I get why people will look at him and say, well, he's a box safety, or if they want to play him up a little bit, which they did. I think Ohio State did that a fair amount last year to get their best players on the field and play their best schemes. But Caleb Downs is not just a box safety. This guy's an interchangeable dude who could play high. Go back and look at the pick he had against Mississippi State when he's a freshman at Alabama, and he's reading the quarterback. He's getting off the hash. He's tracking the ball, and he's plucking the ball out of the air. This guy can cover over the top. He can do all of those things. And when you see him run the alley, when he's coming from that high, from a high safety spot, he gets downhill in a hurry. He is quick. He closes well. He breaks on the ball well. He has all of those things. This is a guy I think can play anywhere you would ask a safety to play.
Sounds like he's describing Ed Reed right there. And they did, Bake, as you know, I mean, they used Caleb Downs almost like a hybrid Mike in the playoffs last year. Like he was obviously would play some deep safety as well, but he was in the box a lot and he was just blowing up plays. He didn't get credit for the tackle, that 2nd and goal play for Texas, but he shot in, he blew up that play, and then Lathan finished it off. That was the best safety tandem in action right there. I mean, Lathan Ransom had a great year last year, and you pair him with Caleb Downs. We'll see who's going to be Caleb Downs' running mate this year. Will it be Jalen McClain or will it be Malik Hartford? I think it'll be McClain, but whoever loses that job, at least they have some good depth there.
What I want to know for this year is if he's more than just a box safety, more than just a defensive player. Are we going to see him on offense this year?
I don't know if we'll see him on offense. I want to see him return more punts, though.
Yeah.
He had a return for a touchdown once in Alabama. He didn't have many opportunities. Didn't have many opportunities last year. Returned one for a touchdown against Indiana. And that was kind of somewhat of a close game there early in the second half till Caleb did that. I don't think we'll see him on offense, but I do hope, and I think we will see him a lot more as a punt returner this year.
Since Reeser's not here, somebody's got to champion the Caleb Downs at running back this season. Dylan's doing a good job with that. I think if I was going to show somebody a play of Caleb Downs that he's not just a box safety, I'd show him the final play of the national championship game where he read that play playing center field so perfectly and just swooped in there with the interception. We'll get some of Tim May's thoughts on this coming up next. 2 minutes from now. It's Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
The Roofing Guys are your locally owned, trusted family business right here in Central Ohio. They've been hammering quality and service through the roof for over 25 years, offering professional services in roofing, siding, gutters, and more. Contact them at theroofingguys.com. That's theroofingguys.com.
I can't wait to meet her.
Oh my gosh.
Put your hands together for new Dr. Pepper Blackberry and Dr. Pepper Blackberry Zero Sugar.
There she is! Woohoo! Yeah! It's full Dr. Pepper!
With sweet blackberry flavor!
Dr. Pepper Blackberry, I'm obsessed with your succulent taste. Please marry me!
No! Marry me, or I'm gonna freak out!
Try new Dr. Pepper Blackberry.
It's a pepper thing!
Get ready to rock. Soft, that is. Nationwide Picnic with the Pops presents Yacht Rock Symphony, Saturday, June 28th, featuring all your favorite 70s and 80s super yacht rock hits on one stage with Ambrosia.
You're the biggest part of me.
Joined by John Ford Coley.
And I'd really love to see it tonight.
And Peter Beckett, the voice of Player. Don't miss this incredible night of hits, ending with a brilliant display of fireworks. June 28th at the Columbus Commons. For tickets, visit picnicwiththepops.com.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Summer's heating up, and so are the deals at Germain Toyota of Columbus. Whether you're cruising to the lake or hauling your weekend gear, Germain, well, they've got the truck to help you get it done. Right now, get 2.99 APR for up to 72 months on the rugged 2024 Tacoma, or step up to the powerful 2025 Tundra, also 2.99 for 72 months. These summer savings, they won't last forever. So visit Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road, or online at germaintoyota.net.
Sometimes I hear a sparkling sound.
Like when we say, all you have to do is point?
There it is.
That's the sound of magic happening.
Magic like we can come the day you call us? Wow.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
10 feet tall and bulletproof isn't just a saying, it's a way of life. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Welcome back in. Bishop and Friends, Wild Friday edition. No Reeser, no Bo. Bo will be back Monday. Reeser too. Ryan Baker hanging out with you. Dylan, he's on the other side of the glass. He's actually efforting Tim May right now. He's been here all week with us. And our guy Dave Biddle from Bucknuts and On the Money right here on The Fan. Just seeing this from Pierre LeBrun in the last hour bids. He's one of the best in the NHL on their one of their insiders. There's a real sense that a Dobson trade could happen by tonight, given the possibility of a first-round pick from tonight being included into the trade. St. Louis, Montreal, and Columbus among the teams with interest. So Noah Dobson, one of those right-shot defensemen, plays for the New York Islanders, high draft pick, very productive player. He was one of those guys that Porty mentioned could be the right-shot defenseman that the Jackets are looking for. Pierre LeBrun thinking maybe something could happen tonight and mentions Columbus as one of the teams.
It's a great time to have 2 first-round picks because they have such a great young core. Yeah, you still want to add prospects, obviously, but, man, now's the time not to go all in. They still need to play the long game to a certain extent, but, yeah, man, I mean, they've done a good job stockpiling prospects. Now I want to see them cash in these. If it's not both first-round picks, at least one of them, maybe a prospect, maybe a third-round pick or something like that. You know, they got an extra 5th rounder. Yeah, I want to see them make a big trade tonight, definitely.
Let's head back out now on the Bryan Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Our buddy Tim May. Tim May, are you on the golf course right now? I have a feeling you are.
I would have been. I'm up here in Ashland at the Ashland Golf Club. There's this great, scramble that's put on every year by this guy that owns about 50 Wendy's restaurants. Great guy, but Focus is the name of the scramble. And just as the phone rang, you know who I was sitting with shooting the bull about and talking about the implications of NIL and how it would have benefited him? Marcus Dupree. Remember him?
Oh, yeah. Marcus Dupree. Okay. Yeah.
Like I told him, I said, you would have had 4 cars in your garage before you ever went to college. But anyway, yeah, but we're in a rain delay or storm delay. So go ahead.
Well,
Give me the questions, callers.
That's a bummer for sure, Tim. We were just talking, you mentioned NIL. One guy who I don't think has to worry about any money right now is Caleb Downs. We just played some sound from the Todd McShay show, and McShay is a big fan of Caleb Downs. one of the things we were talking about is new defensive coordinator, Matt Patricia. One of the things I'm most excited about this year is to see how he deploys a weapon like Caleb Downs. What do you think Patricia does with Downs this season?
All kinds of stuff. I almost said a bad word there. All kinds of stuff. I mean, why wouldn't you? Number one. Number two, Patricia is great at sizing up opposing offense. Doesn't mean you always stop them, but he's great at getting the correct matchups or getting the correct coagulation of defenders to stop a guy. That, for want of another term, he's really good at the matchup deal. And we were talking about that when I was hosting the Buckeye show last week or a couple of weeks ago. The thing that you love about him being the coordinator now is college football has moved so much. It's been this way for a while, but very much so much into the matchup area instead of like, I'm going to run a 4-2-5 and by God, try to run through us. I mean, it's matchup as much as it is anything else now, especially against the better teams. We saw that against Texas with Jim Knowles. I mean, Jim Knowles is good at it too, but I think Matt Patricia has cut his teeth in the National Football League about playing in that realm. Now, to do that, you have to have really good players that you can trust, take care of their responsibility. You always have to be gap sound, as the old saying goes, with any defense you play. But Ohio State, if you look at the talent pound for pound, is as good a talent, maybe the best talent in the country or right up there in the top three this year. And I think he's very much looking forward to having a more experienced – it's a more experienced secondary than you think, even though they're replacing two starters. But having that capability and on the backside of your defense led by the best safety in college football, you could really expand that and say he's probably one of the best safeties in the country of anybody who plays football. When you look at his awareness, his wherewithal, and then also the ability to come up and make plays. You can that's the old saying, you can be a really great safety and know what's going on. I mean, you can be really on top of things from a mental standpoint, but what Caleb Downs does, he melds that with the fact he can actually get there and make the play. And those packages are rare still.
Tim, you and I talked about this a little bit on The Fan a couple weeks ago when we were co-hosting the Buckeye show. We expect to see more odd fronts this year for a variety of reasons. Yeah. Matt Patricia's going to, adjust his scheme to the strength of his players. They like their depth at defensive end. They don't necessarily like their depth at D tackles. I think we're going to see a lot more 3-4. We're going to see they could use a Sonny Styles as an outside linebacker. You can move Arvell Reese around. They like Peyton Pierce as that inside the box middle linebacker. You have guys like I mentioned, C.J. Hicks can rush off the edge. They got Logan George. They got Bo Atkinson. So I think for a variety of reasons, we're going to see a lot more odd fronts this year. What do you think?
I agree 100%, Mr. Biddle. I call you Mr. Biddle. You know that. I respect.
You respect your elders, huh?
Yeah. Well, then, hey, little Davy, I agree with you, little Davy. But no, here's the thing. You rob Peter to pay Paul. No, very few football teams are complete in college football, especially anymore. Last year with Ohio State's about as close as you can get. And, boy, did they exploit some talent, or I don't know what you want to call it, talent well, that I don't think a lot of us thought they had at the beginning of the year on the offensive line. You know what I mean? I mean, they lost two bona fide starters on the offensive line and probably were definitely better at the end of the year than they were at the beginning. Think about that. But defensively, you're rarely going to have a stacked room on the defensive front like you had last year. So you move on from that. I mean, that's last year. You can't lament the fact of what you've got. You've got to deal with what you've got. And I think they will, with Patricia especially, but, Larry Johnson's on board with this too. You can – I don't know if y'all remember this. I wrote a story one time about Joey Bosa and talking about I thought he could have been an All-American 3 technique if he'd have wanted to be. He could have been All-America because he was that good. He was that, the Bosa brothers were built, that their legs and thighs and stuff, were built to be powerful off the line. That's probably their best asset, just blowing through some people occasionally, but also around. But you can move a defensive end down into a 3 technique or a 5 technique, whatever you want to do occasionally. and let some guys take a breather. But, they still want to see Taiwan Malone, as I call him, Taiwan Malone and Will Smith Jr. and some of these other guys more. They want to see these guys step up this year too. They did not, unless something happens, and I don't even know if it can happen in the next few weeks, but they're not going to. They didn't get anything from the transfer portal that helped them in that regard. But they definitely got guys from the transfer portal into the end position, Logan George, and of course the kid from North Carolina, Atkinson. So yeah, I expect them to figure out ways to have mismatches even inside. I mean, you can have mismatches inside. People don't understand it. They think it's just sumo wrestling. It is not that ever anymore.
Tim, do you anticipate that Julian Sayin will be the starting quarterback this year? And if so, what are your expectations for him?
Well, I've determined I'm going to have a pat answer to that, which is I've been asked that 30 times here at this golf outing because we're in a rain delay. But I anticipate it being still competition when the preseason camp starts. But a lot of the things point to Julian Sayin. He was, for want of another term, at the end of the spring, he had a really good spring game. Lincoln Keno's did not. At least he didn't get a good start. He finished up pretty well. But then Lincoln was pretty damn good through the spring. You were there. We saw him be the better quarterback a couple times when we got to watch. I expect it to be competition, but I just got a sense for them to get to where they really want to go with this offense. Initially, it's probably going to be Julian Sayin. But both of these guys have got to get ready to play, Mr. Biddle, because, wow, neither one of them have played. It's crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean, other than Lincoln, I guess, playing in that Cotton Bowl, that doesn't even count. True freshman Lincoln. No, I think a lot of Ohio State fans still think of that. He's way better than he was. And that wasn't his fault at all.
The worst offensive line showing I've ever seen from Ohio State.
Yes.
Close to it was that game at USC back in whenever that was, 07 or 08, that road game at USC when they couldn't block anybody and almost got Todd Beckman killed, and that hurried the transition to Terrell Pryor. I mean, because you needed a guy that could run a little bit because that offensive line, I'm talking about against better competition, was not very good. It got better as the year went on. But, yeah, I mean, I think you're going to have a very good offensive line this year with depth from what I've seen. And so, who's a better guy of standing back there and delivering strikes? That's what's going to determine it. Lincoln Keno's, as we all know, has gotten bigger, stronger, faster, and a much better passer than he was coming in. So I think it's still going to be competition. But, if you push me in the corner, I'm going to say Julian Sayin.
Rain, go.
Hey, I'm just saying.
Just saying.
Rain, go away. Tim May's got golf to play today.
That's right.
Tim May, thanks so much for your time. We always enjoy chatting with you on a Friday.
When the sun sets, I'll be in Nashville, Tennessee. That's my day. That's my day today. See you, fellas.
No rest for the weary. The retired Tim May joining us on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. We'll play Thing or Not a Thing coming up next. It's Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
We're known for three things: games, conversation, and Common Man yelling about things only he cares about. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed's Sponsored Jobs feature helps you stand out and hire fast. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
The big focus in America today is on your health, and you're determined to look beyond pills and steroids and surgery to feel your best, right? So I want to talk to the person who is in pain right now. Or maybe it's someone you love. You've done everything they told you to do, and the pain just keeps coming back. Hey, it's Tyvus Powell for QC Kinetics. They are different. These are not quick fixes. This is a revolutionary treatment that works to give your body long-term relief. You'll meet face-to-face with Dr. Aaron Wilkoff and the QC Kinetics medical team. They'll explain how their regenerative treatments take your body's own healing power and helps heal and restore your damaged tissue. These are well-respected protocols that include potent and powerful cellular level treatments. QC Kinetics has helped tens of thousands of people, so many of them right here in Columbus, Ohio. They'd be honored to help you as well. Yes, you can say goodbye to that chronic pain and live your best life. Find out if you're a good candidate. The consultation is free. Go to QCkinetics.com/Columbus or call 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. before.
The biggest thriller this summer is blockbuster savings at Coughlin Chevrolet. Lease a new 2025 Chevy Trax for $159 a month. A new 2026 Chevy Equinox, only $259 a month. Or a new 2025 Silverado, lease for $359 a month. This month only at Coughlin Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
36-month lease with $39.99 due at signing, plus tax, title, and license. 10,000 miles per year, 25 cents per mile over. See dealer for details. N63025.
At Valvoline Instant Oil Change, we're here to help keep you on the road so you can soak up all the summer fun. The road tunes.
Take me out to the ball game.
Hotel pools. Emergency ice cream stops. The sunscreen and bug spray everywhere. At Valvoline Instant Oil Change, we're here for it all. So stop in for a quick oil change before you go. Only takes about 15 minutes. No appointment needed.
Get ready to rock. Soft, that is. Nationwide Picnic with the Pops presents Yacht Rock Symphony, Saturday, June 28th, featuring all your favorite 70s and 80s super yacht rock hits on one stage with Ambrosia.
You're the biggest part of me.
Joined by John Ford Coley.
And I'd really love to see it tonight.
And Peter Beckett, the voice of Player. Don't miss this incredible night of hits, ending with a brilliant display of fireworks. June 28th at the Columbus Commons. For tickets, visit picnicwiththepops.com.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. T&Cs apply. Available in app only.
The Buckeyes are national champions. And you listen to it all right here on The Fan. And next year when they do it again, it'll be here on The Fan. And the year after that, well, you know the drill. Always and forever, your home of the Buckeyes. The Fan.
Master Grillers Unite. The grilling season never ends at Billiards Plus. Come see their best-in-class grills for yourself and check out Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family-owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
The champs are back. Ohio State football returns to the Shoe this fall with powerhouse matchups against Texas, Penn State, and more. Your Buckeye Saturdays begin at ohiostatebuckeyes.com, where you can grab single-game tickets that are on sale now. Gear up and get ready for game day.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Keep your friends close and your producers closer. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Got a little bit of Jackets news coming down here in the last 10 minutes. This according to, actually they sent out the press release too. The CBJ have signed forward Hunter McCown to a 1-year, 2-way extension. McCown is a guy that the Blue Jackets signed when his college career was up. He played at Colorado. I believe it was 2 seasons ago. He's played a couple games with the Jackets, a guy that can play center or wing. He was with the Cleveland Monsters all of last year, an important piece of that team. So another young player that the Jackets have signed to give them depth, will probably play most of the year at Cleveland, but another guy that they could call up. This also coming in the past 40 minutes or so. We talked a little bit about what Pierre LeBrun said about Noah Dobson. This is from Chris Johnston at The Athletic. The Canadians and the Blue Jackets, the finalists in trade talks for Islanders Noah Dobson. So I said it's down to those two teams here. Dobson, a 25-year-old right-shot defenseman, he says is expected to sign a contract extension as part of any trade. His next deal will carry a cap hit of at least $9.5 million. So kind of what we've heard. Porty said something about $10 million a year. That's pretty close. That'd put him right in line with Zach Werenski's contract. So if you can lock Dobson up, that is a heck of a top pairing for the Blue Jackets for the next handful of years. Every bit as good as what you saw a few years back when the Jackets had Seth Jones and Zach Werenski.
That would be awesome. And as you mentioned, only 25 years old. And like you said, Bake, if they trade for him, they're going to sign him to an extension. Now the question is, what are they going to have to give up for him if they do get him? Both first-round picks, like we've been talking about throughout the show. One of the first-round picks and a prospect or two, maybe someone on the current roster like a Cole Sillinger. I would not like to get rid of Sillinger, but if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. But this would be great, man. This would be fantastic. Very young. Add to this young core, and he's already a proven player. So, sign me up for that. I'm very curious what it would take to get him.
He's a player that 2 years ago had 70 points as a defenseman.
Jeez.
He's a heck of a player. He kind of living in anonymity there with the New York Islanders because they haven't been great the past couple seasons. But that would be a heck of a big get for Don Waddell in the CBJ. We knew the Jackets would be a team to watch here today heading into the draft and coming up through free agency next week. This is pretty exciting if you're a Blue Jackets fan. Time for Thing or Not a Thing.
Thing or Not a Thing.
Sponsored by Billiards Plus. Find your next grill and everything you need for the master griller. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Guys, we talked a little bit about Tuesday night in the debut of Chase Burns for the Cincinnati Reds. ESPN's Jeff Passan joined Scott Van Pelt on SportsCenter after that debut Tuesday night, and he was asked which team he thought was being slept on as we approach the All-Star break.
I'm going to pick a team that's just slightly above 500, and that is the Cincinnati Reds. And tonight we saw the debut of Chase Burns, the number 2 overall pick in the draft last year, and all he did was go out and strike out the first 5 New York Yankees. Hunter Green, going to be coming off the injured list soon, and Ellie De La Cruz, their all-world shortstop. Terry Francona is in his first year as manager in Cincinnati, Scott, and he's got a lot of talent there. I think the Reds, they're maybe not a threat to beat the Cubs, but when you're in a division that has a Brewers team that's also very good and has a St. Louis Cardinals team that has flashed very good, it's going to be tough, but I think Cincinnati has the talent to really surprise people in the second half.
Thing or not a thing?
Thing. I hear what he's saying, and they've kind of flown under the radar. They've been banged up, and if they can get healthy, and if they get Hunter Green back, probably then like Chase Burns is going to get hurt or something, right, Bake? But if they can get healthy, they're going to be a problem. The fact that they are halfway through the season, they're 3 games over 500 despite all those injuries. Yeah, hopefully they can. I think they're probably a year away from making the playoffs, but I think they're going to at least make a run at it this year and at least get close.
Yeah, for me, it's a thing. We kind of talked about it earlier this week with Lodolo, Abbott, Burns, Green. If they do make the playoffs, who wants to face that rotation? I don't think anyone. Jeff talked about Ellie De La Cruz, Terry Francona, Philly, Boston, Cleveland. He wins everywhere he goes. So I think the Reds could be dangerous as early as this year. So I definitely think it's a thing.
And Bids, as you know, one of the things that have plagued the Reds this year is left-handed starting pitching. Matt McLean and Spencer Steer, though, starting to heat up from the right side of the plate. If you can get those guys going and then maybe get Christian Encarnacion Strand in some kind of groove,
Austin
you
Hayes
might be cooking.
Maybe we can keep Austin Hayes healthy for more than 3 days at a time.
Mission impossible,
I
it
think
seems like.
He looks good for 2 or 3 days, and he goes on the IL for 2 weeks. And hey, maybe he can stay healthy. We'll see.
Ohio State running backs coach Carlos Loughlin joined the Bobby Carpenter show yesterday, and he talked about how much he loves Columbus.
The passion of the fans. Like, it's like I can walk in Columbus and somebody say, "Hey, Coach Lock, can I take a picture?" That threw me off. People know who I am. It's the passion of the fan, and I truly love living in Columbus, man. It's one of the best cities. I tell people all the time. I didn't know anything about Columbus. You know, I'm from Montgomery, Alabama. And I told my wife, she's like, you want to stay here, don't you? Because every other place I ever been, I always leased. I never did buy a house. I got to Columbus. I bought a house immediately. I bought a house immediately. I told Coach Day, look here, buddy. Hey, I got to stay here with you. I don't want to go nowhere. This is where I want to be at.
Thing or not a thing?
Definitely a thing, and I think it was They were not happy the way Tony Alford left and when he left. Middle of spring ball last year, they were not happy about that. But I guarantee you, Ryan Day, and maybe he would say this publicly, but I guarantee he's saying it privately, he feels he upgraded at the running back position as far as a recruiter. Look what he did getting the most out of those running backs last year. Really, really, really good running backs. But Trey got even better as, a pass blocker. Definitely a thing.
Yeah, I think it's a thing as well. In the very first sentence, he said the passion of the fans. And I think we've gotten two sides of the spectrum on the show where earlier we had someone on Twitter ask if Ryan Day should have been fired after the Michigan game, even after a national championship. Then we have Carlos Loughlin saying, as a running backs coach, there's fans that recognize him. So I think that truly paints a picture of how rabid the Ohio State fan base is.
I think Carlos Loughlin is a thing. I just love his energy. He just seems like a guy that you would love to play for. It's no wonder he does good on the recruiting trail. We know he had a great relationship with Bo Jackson, who came in this year. And Coach Loughlin, Brian Hartline, James Laurinaitis, Tim Walton, Matt Guerreri. I don't know how Ohio State ever misses out on a recruit, right? Because you want to play for all of these guys.
And Tyler Bowen's doing a great job, as the offensive line coach as far as recruiting. We'll see how he does as the O-line coach, but he's doing a great job recruiting, casting a wider net. So, yeah, they're knocking it out of the park with recruiting.
It's interesting that you bring up Tyler Bowen because we will talk a little bit about him and what we learned this week. Coming up next, it's Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
An encyclopedic knowledge of sports and other random things you may or may not care about.
I think I found my mentor.
Rockman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan.
At Valvoline Instant Oil Change, we're here to help keep you on the road so you can soak up all the summer fun. The road tunes.
Take me out to the ball game.
Hotel pools. Emergency ice cream stops. The sunscreen and bug spray everywhere.
It's in my eyes!
At Valvoline Instant Oil Change, we're here for it all. So stop in for a quick oil change before you go. Only takes about 15 minutes. No appointment needed.
Do you suffer from leg pain, leg swelling, varicose veins, or leg ulcers? Dr. Barry Zeta and Dr. Joseph Senta at Ohio Vein and Vascular Polaris are pioneers in the vein and vascular field. Dr. Zeta and Dr. Senta can perform minimally invasive procedures that will get you back on track to a pain-free life. Stop living with leg pain and start the process to healthy living with a free healthy leg screening. Go to loveyourveins.com or call 614-426-VEIN. That's 614-426-VEIN or loveyourveins.com.
Watching Clorox cleanup spray dissolve tough grime in the shower feels like...
Wait. This really just happened? I'm shocked. Underwear and everything?
It feels like being able to zip up your overpacked suitcase on the first try.
Smooth.
With Clorox, clean feels satisfying. Clean feels good. Use as directed.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Sometimes I hear a sparkling sound.
Like when we say, all you have to do is point?
There it is.
That's the sound of magic happening.
Magic like we can come the day you call us? Wow.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOTJUNK.com.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
Hi, this is
Bob Mashetter from Dick Mashetter Ford. Thank you to all of Central Ohio as we head towards 60 years of doing business in the Buckeye State. Dad opened up in 1967 simply trying to offer a better way to buy a car, and we've been working ever since to serve our neighbors. We have served you through wars, recessions, and even a Chinese virus. Here is to serving you and your kids and your grandkids for the next 60 years, except on Sundays when we're closed, because it's the right thing to do. Still 24/7 at mashetterford.net. Thanks.
Boating season is finally here, and Buckeye Lake Marina is your go-to destination for all your on-the-water needs. With the largest inventory in Central Ohio, you can choose from top brands like Bennington, South Bay, Crown Line, and more. Buckeye Lake Marina has it all. Pontoon boats, luxury tri-toon boats, even merch. Open 7 days a week to serve you better. Find your next dream boat at Buckeye Lake Marina. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com today for all your on-the-water needs. The good life, the lake life, starts at Buckeye Lake Marina.
Bobby Carpenter here for Germain Toyota. Swing by Germain Toyota and ask for Marcello and discover unbeatable deals and a wide selection of new and certified pre-owned Toyota vehicles. Visit them at germaintoyota.net. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road.
Introducing the new Dell AI PC, powered by the Intel Core Ultra processor. It helps do your busy work for you, so you can fast forward through editing images, designing presentations, generating code, debugging code, summarizing meeting notes, finding files, managing your schedule, responding to Jim's long emails, leaving all the time in the world for the things you actually want to do. No offense, Jim. Get a new Dell AI PC starting at $749.99 at Dell.com/AI-PC. How those ahead stay ahead.
Evan Cohen here. Whether you're locking in your home run picks or riding with your favorite golfers this summer, ESPN Bet is your sportsbook for all the action. Go from checking stats on your favorite teams and players to placing bets in just a few taps. Plus, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Ryan Baker. The Columbus Blue Jackets were busy yesterday trading Daniil Tarasov to the Florida Panthers and reacquiring forward Brendan Gaunce from the Minnesota Wild. Today, they have re-signed forward Hunter McCown to a one-year, two-way contract. It's also being reported that the team is one of two teams in trade talks with the New York Islanders for defenseman Noah Dobson. Round one of the NHL draft tonight at 7. The Jackets have the 14th and the 20th picks. General Manager Don Waddell has said that one or both of those could be used in a move to bolster the roster. You can catch the Blue Jackets draft special tonight at 6 here on The Fan. The Cleveland Guardians shut out by the Toronto Blue Jays 6-0 yesterday. Cleveland commits 4 errors in the game, 3 of those by Kyle Manzardo. And the Columbus Clippers are hot. They're on a 6-game winning streak. They beat the Iowa Cubs 6-5 yesterday.
Taking the art of sports radio and day drinking to a whole new level. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Yes, you are. Final hour of this Friday program. Last one of the week. Ryan Baker here with you. Dave Biddle in for Eric Reeser. Bo is out as well on vacation. Those guys will be out Monday. Dylan Gonzalez here on the other side of the glass, as he has been all week long. Speaking of this week, we learned some things. It's time for what we learned.
We're not trying to do too much around here, but over the course of 5 days, you might have gleaned some stuff. Bishop and Friends present What We've Learned This Week.
Bids, will start with the first thing, some of the breaking news here with the Blue Jackets, that obviously they've made some moves yesterday, trading away Daniil Tarasov, goaltender who once a lot of people thought might be the future of the Blue Jackets in net. They also reacquire a veteran to help groom some of the young guys in the minor leagues in Brendan Gaunce. Today they re-signed Hunter McCown to help that, and now we hear the news that the Blue Jackets are in talks, one of the final 2 teams to trade for Noah Dobson of the New York Islanders. Of course, we don't know if that will happen, but Chris Johnson and Pierre LeBrun reporting that it's the Jackets and the Canadiens, the final 2 teams in talks. Don Waddell And I think we knew this last year. He kind of comes into the job a little late, gets his first chance to really learn the team, learn the organization, what he wants to do. He's definitely going to put his stamp on this team now, and it looks like he's going to swing big. And I think he wants the Jackets not to just be a team that can make the playoffs this year. I think he wants the Jackets to be a team that can contend for the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, absolutely. And, with looking at Dobson, it's interesting. If it is actually down to the Jackets and Canadians, if all things are equal, meaning he's going to get the same money, he doesn't care what the return for the Islanders would be. Do you think if all things being equal, he'd pick the Jackets or he'd pick the Habs? Now, he's from Canada. He's not French-Canadian, but he is a Canadian. Would that play into it? Hopefully not. I know I'm asking you to spitball here. If all things are equal, I just hope he picks Columbus over Montreal. But him being Canadian, he might not do that.
It's one of those things that what's your why, right? Like, does he want to go to Montreal, where it's a hockey-crazed market, and he's going to be in the spotlight? He's going to walk down the street, and people are going to know him and bombard him. Here in Columbus, he can live a pretty good life, kind of in anonymity. Nobody really knows who he is. Also, do you want to play? And I know the Montreal Canadiens have a really good young defenseman in Lane Hudson, Calder Trophy winner last year. But do you want to play with maybe Zach Werenski on a top pair, a guy that can not only help you but take some pressure off you as well? It'll be very interesting. We know the Jackets flush with cap space. Montreal seems to have some too. This is just exciting to me, Bids, because most people around Central Ohio, it's Buckeye football, right? All of the time. That's how it is for me with the Jackets. The Jackets are my number one. I'm sick. Like, I have watched a Jackets regular season game over the Ohio State-Michigan game while it was going on. Everybody was in watching. I was in another room with the TV on, paying attention to both, but my focus was on the Jackets. And it's just exciting to me after the couple years that we had that it seems like the Jackets are moving in the right direction. And not only that, they've got a core that it seems sustainable for a long run of success here.
No doubt about it. I mean, it starts with, last year hiring Don Waddell and him bringing in Dean Evison, and then you have this young core, and they supplemented that with veterans like Sean Monahan. I just love where the Jackets are at. Hopefully they can take that next step next year, not maybe take a minor step back, because I think 2 years from now they're going to be a big problem. Hopefully this coming season they will be. I think in the very least that 26-27 season they're going to be a big problem.
Yeah, I think we're on the genesis of a run similar to like 2016 to 2020, where they were in the mix every year, and then we had that one great year where they swept the Lightning. I think we're in for that kind of Blue Jackets run coming up in the next 3 to 4 years.
It's interesting. Elliot Friedman, in his 32 thoughts this morning, I would think Columbus would be another team looking at Brian Rust. We heard Aaron Portzline say that when he joined us earlier at 9:30. If you missed that interview, you can find it on our podcast as soon as the show is over, anywhere you get your audio. I've wondered about Columbus on Dobson. Well, we've heard the reporting from Pierre LeBrun and Chris Johnston that they're in the final two. People kind of wonder about Columbus going after Ehlers, Nikolai Ehlers, top-line winger for the Winnipeg Jets with all of their cap room. So it's just exciting as a Jackets fan to hear the Jackets in on all of these guys. Something else that was exciting, Bids, you and I both, fans of the Cincinnati Reds, Chase Burns, the number 2 overall pick in last year's draft, he's electric.
He is, and he actually, for those who don't know, he signed the largest signing bonus in MLB draft history, even more than what Paul Skeens got the previous year. He was the number 1 pick. So Chase Burns fell to number 2 to the Reds. He'd probably be the number 1 overall pick if they did the draft over again. Although I don't think the Guardians are going to be upset with Travis Bazzana at all. That kid will hit for his entire career. He's still in Double-A right now. He's doing all right. He's not doing great, but Chase Burns, man. And did you see his press conference? So obviously he's electric on the mound. He's got a fastball that sits at 100 miles an hour, and his best pitch is his slider, just an absolute wipeout slider. Also has a decent changeup. You love that. And then he carries himself like a veteran. He's very mature. I love hearing what he said in both in the pregame and postgame press conference. I think the Reds have another really good building block there. I mean, they're just stockpiling talent with Hunter Green, Ellie De La Cruz, Chase Burns, Andrew Abbott, Matt McClain, and others. So, it's a good time to be a Reds fan. It's the first time I've been able to say that in a long time.
Joined Johnny Cueto as one of the only Reds to have 8 strikeouts in their debut. Joined Al Leiter and Wade Davis as the only players their first 6 outs of their debut to be strikeouts. So some pretty impressive things. Something else I learned this week, I like Brett Bielema, and I think I like him a lot. And he makes the Big Ten better and more interesting. If for nothing else, he's leaning in on the SEC. We had Paul Feinbaum on yesterday, and Paul Feinbaum had this to say about Brett Bielema.
And I'm getting entertained by Brett Bielema. So a couple weeks ago, he was coming after the SEC broadly. Now he's coming after Kirby Smart. Knowing Brett Bielema for a long time, the only thing that surprised me is understanding his voracious appetite, and he didn't bite the microphone and try to swallow it, because he doesn't seem to mind running his mouth. I would suggest maybe to Brett, worry about he had a good season last year by Illinois standards, but that means plus 500. I would worry more about, maybe being successful on the football field so he doesn't get fired there like he did at Arkansas, as opposed to running his mouth and making allegations that there is no chance in the world he can back up.
I think Morton's is out of product now. They have no salt left. Paul Feinbaum just used up all the salt in the world right there. Listen, Brett Bielema, he is. I used to make fun of him when he was at Wisconsin and Arkansas. He's become like a very likable figure. Like what happened in their bowl game with South Carolina last year with Shane Beamer. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. That was hilarious what Brett Bielema did. So, and he's doing a great job at Illinois. Paul Feinbaum can sit here and say, they had a good year for Illinois standards. Yeah, they had a better year than Alabama last year.
Listen, there's no doubt Michigan, the past little run that they've had, makes the Big Ten better, right? Indiana, if they can continue to play like they did last year, that makes the Big Ten better. If Illinois can do this, that makes the Big Ten better. And old Bert, he gets under the skin. Sports are great because of the rivalries and the good guy, bad guy. We don't like you, you don't like us. It's awesome. I love having him back in the Big Ten, and I hope Illinois does what I think they're going to do this year, because that will make the Big Ten even better.
For those who don't know, Brett Bielema is actually like a cool guy. Like he'd be a guy you'd want to get a beer with. Like I talked to him one-on-one, had a somewhat lengthy one-on-one interview with him one time at Big Ten Media Days. He's a pretty cool guy. Like you would like him if you went out and had a beer or 3 with him.
The other thing we learned this week, and you mentioned it a little bit in our last segment, Tyler Bowen, the new offensive line coach at Ohio State, he can recruit a little bit. He added Arizona offensive tackle Aaron Thomas this week, added him to his list of commits for the 2026 class, 6'7", 300-pounder from Phoenix, Arizona. He joins Sam Greer, the number 7 offensive tackle from Akron, and Maxwell Riley, the number 8 offensive tackle from Avon Lake. Tyler Bowen coming in here, hitting the ground running and recruiting.
I love it. And Justin Fry did a very good job as the offensive line coach. He could coach up some offensive line. Now he's in the NFL with the Arizona Cardinals. We saw that. Ohio State lost Josh Simmons. Everybody's like, they're screwed now. Then they lost McLaughlin. They have no chance now. And look what happened. But he was not a good recruiter. He didn't like recruiting. Justin Fry did. So we'll see if Tyler Bowen's a good offensive line coach. There's no question he's a good recruiter. And you talk to Tyler Bowen, very personable, very intelligent. It's easy to see a young guy carries himself like he's an older guy, but he's like in his mid-30s. Huge, man. Tyler Bowen's like 6'8", 6'7", or 6'8", former offensive lineman himself. He's casting a wider net, and he's landing some of these guys. So he's already an upgrade over Fry as a recruiter. We'll see how he does as an O-line coach. And real quick, though, they have 3 other guys that are analysts just to help out with the offensive line. And Ryan Day kind of used to be a too many cooks in the kitchen guy. He didn't want too many analysts. Now he's taking a page out of Saban's book. Has a lot of analysts, including, like I said, 3 guys who are just analysts that are helping Tyler Bowen out coaching the offensive line.
Very exciting. I love the depth on the O-line with some of the pieces they brought in this year. Ohio State basketball, they've got a new mantra for the upcoming season. I can't wait to get your thoughts on that season coming up next, Bids. It's Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
We used to have a billboard with our host's face on it, but only ugly people work here now.
You mama say you ugly, hey!
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
This just in from the Lindsay Honda newsroom. It's our big anniversary sale. 0% for up to 60 months has been extended on all new Hondas. Drive a new 2025 CR-V LX all-wheel drive with 0% financing.
Lower your rate, lower your payment.
Save thousands on hundreds of new Hondas when you buy now.
With so many Hondas, why would you go anywhere else?
Shop the big, the beautiful Lindsay Honda now. Visit lindsayhonda.com for details.
Your neighborhood Kroger pharmacy is happy to welcome back Express Scripts Medicare D and TRICARE Department of Defense Plan members. It's easy to transfer prescriptions at Kroger.com/payer update. See your Kroger pharmacy for details.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
One of the things I had decided when I started the company was we were going to build the best window possible. We were going to give the best service possible, and I think we've accomplished that. Our reputation is built on taking care of people and building a great window and then taking care of it afterwards. It's just a darn good window.
See for yourself. Visit RossatiWindows.com.
The big focus in America today is on your health, and you're determined to look beyond pills and steroids and surgery to feel your best, right? So I want to talk to the person who is in pain right now. Or maybe it's someone you love. You've done everything they told you to do, and the pain just keeps coming back. Hey, it's Tyvis Powell for QC Kinetics. They are different. These are not quick fixes. This is a revolutionary treatment that works to give your body long-term relief. You'll meet face-to-face with Dr. Aaron Wilkoff and the QC Kinetics medical team. They'll explain how their regenerative treatments take your body's own healing power and helps heal and restore your damaged tissue. These are well-respected protocols that include potent and powerful cellular level treatments. QC Kinetics has helped tens of thousands of people, so many of them right here in Columbus, Ohio. They'd be honored to help you as well. Yes, you can say goodbye to that chronic pain and live your best life. Find out if you're a good candidate. The consultation is free. Go to qckinetics.com/Columbus or call 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544.
When you get ECO to fix your HVAC system, we give you back all the money you paid us to repair that old system when you finally need to buy a new one from us. Up to $1,500.
Get ECO.
ECO. All those extra years of service for free on me. GetEco.com.
Hi, here are some ways to listen to The Fan. You can download the Fan app or listen at home on your smart speaker or open up the iHeartRadio app or hold your head out the window and hear Common Man scream. Happy listening from the Dopes at The Fan.
Are you in need of basic dental treatment but can't afford the cost? There may be a solution. Hi, I'm Dr. Hal Jeter, president of the Ohio Dental Association, and I'm excited to tell you about a program called Dental Options. Dental Options is a partnership between the Ohio Dental Association and the Ohio Department of Health in which qualifying patients can be paired with a dentist to receive discounted or even free dental care. Eligibility for the program is based on your financial situation. For more information or to apply, call 1-888-765-6789.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty. Do you want to sell your property, however, you need a little help getting through the process? Let's say you have years of belongings in the home. It needs a lot of updating, you're overwhelmed, and you may need help finding a place to go. I will help you. Visit us today at TurboTrackRealty.com or call me now for an all-cash offer and, more importantly, the help you need at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Happy Friday, everybody. I wish I had an update to our forecast, but it remains the same. We'll have chances of showers and thunderstorms developing this afternoon into the early evening. Otherwise, partly to mostly sunny skies. Highs in the mid to low 90s, and our feels like in triple digits in some spots. For tonight, lows down into the 70s, and then for Saturday, a little bit cooler. Highs in the upper 80s, but we will see chances of showers and thunderstorms in the forecast. Otherwise, mostly to partly sunny skies. For The Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with the 10th Weather Impact Forecast.
Catch T-Bone and Tyvis weekday mornings from 6 to 9. If you're not completely satisfied, we'll rewind time and erase your brain. For real, The Fan. The perfect show for quarter zips and khaki shorts. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Vince, I feel like I got a sickness right now. Like I'm addicted to Twitter.
Yes.
And just trying to find if there's any latest news on the Blue Jackets, if they've gotten this Noah Dobson trade done, or what's the next move. Obviously, we talked about the Hunter McCown signing. What's coming next for the Jackets? Like I'm over here shaking, just waiting to see what's next.
They're probably going to make us wait till close to the drafts. We're going to have the draft starts at around 7 tonight. We have some Reds baseball tonight. Man, I know you'll be fully focused on the NHL draft, as you should be. Yeah, man, hopefully they can get this done. Getting Dobson sounds like a perfect fit. You wouldn't be just getting him as a rental because you'd be signing him to a long-term extension. Yeah, you like having prospects, but, man, the Jackets have stocked up on prospects. Now's the time to cash in those 2 first-round picks, in my opinion. I don't even know if that would be enough. I don't know. Maybe you have to give them both first-round picks and something on top of that. I don't know, Bake. You would have a better idea than I would. But, I hope Don Waddell is going to get something big done tonight. And judging by what he's done his first year on the job, I have full confidence in him.
I think he will. Just remember, Jackets fans, if you want to get something big like this, you're going to have to, there's going to be Jackets fans upset because they're going to give up something that people are not happy about. Like Aaron Portzline was talking about a Rasmus Anderson trade. He mentioned Cole Sillinger. People are not going to like to hear that, but you have to give up something to get something. Yegor Chinnikov. I'm a huge Chinnikov fan. I love what he brings to the ice. He can't stay healthy, but sometimes to get something, you've got to give up something. So there's going to be some Jackets fans that are upset because they're going to give up a piece that's pretty good. But if you want to give someone like a Noah Dobson, who Dylan mentioned is a right shot, top pairing defenseman that scored 70 points 2 years ago, you've got to give something up. You've got to entice them to give you what you want.
Yeah, but I think people would argue that they have the cap space, so they would rather them get a unrestricted free agent than trade for someone like that and give up someone like Cole Sillinger. But I'm with you. If you want something, you got to give something up. So a roster player that you've seen play a lot, might not be on the Blue Jackets last year, one of your favorites, but you got to give something to get something.
And on top of that, the free agent class is not up to par. Is that safe to say?
It's not one of the best. You've got a couple top heavies. You've got a Mitch Marner, a Nikolai Ehlers, a Brock Besser. On the defensive side, you've got an Aaron Ekblad possibly there. But, yeah, there's not a ton of – this isn't the highest free agent class ever.
Yeah, you like when the Jackets have the most cap space to also have it be a really good free agent class. But, hey, at least they have the most cap space, so they can make a trade, sign a guy to like Dobson to what are they saying? He's going to get probably $9.5 million a year?
9.5, $10 million, at least something like that. So, yeah, and we talked about the salary cap. It goes up to 95 this year. Well, in the coming years, it's going to go up to 109. So the Jackets are going to have plenty of cap space to bring these people in to sign their young guys because Adam Fantilli's due a big raise here. Don Waddell was asked about that and said they're going to work on that and hopefully get that done this year as well, so you can lock him up. It's very exciting.
And they're going to be, other than Severson, they're going to be done with their terrible contracts by then, too. Like Elvis will be off the books by then, in theory. Mm-hmm. Gudbranson has 1 year left.
Gudbranson, yeah. He signed a 4-year deal.
Eric Gudbranson. Yeah, and he's getting – I like the idea of signing him. I just felt like they grossly overpaid for him. Is that safe?
They did, but with this cap moving up, it's not as bad for and what he brings, you have to remember, too, there's production on the ice, which that's paramount. He's also a really good locker room guy. He's become a leader in there, and he brings a toughness to this team that was sorely needed. You can't just rely on Matthew Olivier to do it all. You've got to have team toughness, and Eric Gudbranson helps you with that. This excitement that I have right now, Bids, for the Jackets, I want to have it again for Ohio State basketball. And I feel like I'm pretty close. I like a lot of the moves they did this year, but I kind of felt like that last year, too. I was pretty excited with Aaron Bradshaw. I was pretty excited with Sean Stewart. I was really excited that Michi came back, and it just didn't work out.
It couldn't have been worse, actually. It couldn't have been worse. They did a terrible job in the trade.
It could have been worse. It could have been worse. Micah Parrish came in, and that was a hit in the transfer portal, at least. But
I just meant for Michi, it couldn't have worked out any worse because overall they did a terrible job in the transfer portal, except for Micah Parrish. And that was one when they got Micah Parrish, I'm like, they needed a wing. They need somebody that can shoot the three. And he was coming off a year where he shot like 28% from three. He ended up being a really good get. I like what they did in the portal this year. I really did. I mean, they're going to, I love the big kid they got, the 7-footer that they got. They have some size on this team for sure. I like the kid they got from Wright State, Brandon Knoll, 6'8". He can score. He can rebound. He's pretty athletic. He'll dunk a lot. You'll see Brandon Knoll dunk a lot. And I like what they're doing overall. I'm a little concerned about the wing. I know now if Devin Royal moves to the three and as a good three, then that problem goes away. But you have the freshman from Germany that they got, kind of the last kid they added to the roster, and you have Colin White. Those are really the only true small forwards on the team. So that's a little bit of a concern. But if Devin Royal can make that move to small forward, which if he wants to have a pro career, he's going to need to be a small forward, not a power forward. I think he can do that, especially entering his junior year. So then if he works out at the three, Ryan, I'm going to be liking this team. Now, I don't think I'm going to be liking them to be a top 20 team, but I think they'll be challenging to be a top 25 team. They'll make the tournament, and given the recent history of Ohio State basketball, just making the tournament would be good. Hopefully they can make the tournament and actually win a game or two.
I got to ask you a question, Dave, because a couple days ago, I made the YouTube chat go ablaze when I said that people need to lower their expectations when it comes to Ohio State basketball. I'm not saying last year was acceptable and them missing the tournament is acceptable, but to you guys, what is the proper bar for Ohio State basketball right now? Because to me, they're not going to be as good as the football program. To me, it's like make the tournament every year, and then maybe every 3, 4, 5 years you have a good run. That's my expectations for Ohio State. But I feel like the fan base here, they see the success of the football program, and they project it onto their expectations of the basketball program. I
think you nailed it. I feel the exact same way. And I think, there's football, obviously, but also the Thad Matta era spoiled everybody.
Yes.
Definitely. And Thad would ask Thad, like, are you making it more of a basketball school now? He's like, Ohio State's always going to be a football school, but we think it can also be a basketball school. I always love that answer. So, yeah, I'm with you, man. Make the tournament every year. And like you said, every 3 to 5 years, actually make a run. Maybe not necessarily to the Final Four, although that'd be good. At least a run to the Sweet 16. Yeah, I don't think we can have the same expectations that we had during the height of the Matta era, for example.
These years, though, of are we going to get not only into the tournament, are we going to get into the Big Ten tournament? we can't have that. That is unacceptable. Right. And we say that maybe the fan base has too high of expectations. I would kind of argue that the fan base hasn't been tough enough on Ohio State basketball, because I feel sometimes if you get pressure from the outside, that'll cause you to try. And I'm not saying Ohio State hasn't tried. They've done things, right? And, Chris Holtmann had them there where, you are number 2 seed in the tournament. And then whatever happened with, I think there was clash of what people wanted, how they wanted to build the roster. And I think that just kind of took, I don't know, it just kind of ruined things for Chris Holtmann. They've got Diebler here. Some people will say that you didn't try with that hire, but he had a great run. They knocked off Purdue. He did great in those 8 games at the end of the year with them. And I think Jake Diebler learned a lot last year on roster construction. He went with potential and upside over production on the court and high basketball IQ, which are 2 things that he really stressed when he had his availability last week about wanting to build this roster. I worry about Devin Royal at the 3. I kind of feel like him playing the 3 and the 4 both. I think Tayson Chapman is really important for this team this year because I think he could play that wing position a little bit and let Royal play that 4 some as well and give them a little more defensive versatility. I worry about the rebounding still. I know Tilly's a 7-footer. I know Knoll averaged 8 rebounds a game at Wright State. But the Horizon League's a little different than the Big Ten, and both of those players, they're kind of slashers. They're not true post players. They're slashers. So I think it's going to be interesting how Josh Ojonwuna recovers from this knee injury, and if he's available to play this year at all, or when he's available to play, because he's going to be a difference on the defensive side of the ball inside with his defensive ability and with his rebounding. I think there are still questions, but this winning over everything mantra that they have this year and the way they've built this team, I'm really close, Dave. And if they'd have got Darion Williams, I'd have been all in. I still think they need a number one. They're not going to get that, but I like the way this team is built right now.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, the freshman big man, Amari Bynum, I think he can be a guy that can help out off the bench and grab some rebounds and protect the rim a little bit and score. I think he was a good get by them. He's ranked as number 9 power forward in the country, the number 44 overall player in the country, young man out of Branson, Missouri. So I think Bynum's going to help. They have the 7'1" kid from Croatia still. He'll be a sophomore now, didn't play much last year, Ivan. And maybe he can, be more of a force this year. You're right that Christoph Tilley does not have great rebounding numbers. I think he averaged 6 rebounds last year.
I think it was 5.5.
Yeah, but he's a really good passer. He's
great on the pick and roll.
Yeah, and I think maybe now as a senior, I just like the size they have this year. And you're right, the kid from Baylor, the 6'10" kid. Hopefully he's healthy. He probably won't be right away. There's a chance he won't be healthy at all. They might have to redshirt him and then bring him back the following year. But the plan right now is for him to play this year, and that would be big. I like what they have going on in the backcourt when you have Bruce Thornton and Junie Mobley. He had Junie kind of take over as the point guard, which lets Bruce play the 2. Gabe Cupps, I get it. He was not good at Indiana, but he was Mr. Basketball here in Ohio, and you're bringing him in as a backup point guard. He didn't really play much last year at Indiana because he got hurt. Has 3 years left. Kid from Centerville. It's interesting. Him and Devin Royal went at each other in the state tournament. Cupps won Mr. Basketball his junior year when they were juniors, and then Royal won Mr. Basketball when they were seniors. So I think Gabe Cupps as a backup guard is a good get. We'll see about Tyson Chapman. He has not been able to stay healthy. He's now entering his 3rd year. They need him to at least be a viable bench guy. But I really like having Thornton and Junie and Devin Royal. Getting that core back was big. And again, we'll see, Ryan. We'll see. But I think they did a good job in the portal this year.
One thing I don't like, Bids, is guys who haven't even played yet in a sports professional league trying to dictate where they go in that league. We will discuss that next. It's Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
Men, summertime is here, and that means vacations, summer barbecues, outdoor parties, camping, beaches, and so much more. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, and if you're like many men, you may not be feeling like yourself this summer. Perhaps your energy is low and you aren't sleeping well. Maybe your workouts aren't as good as they used to be, and if what I'm describing is you, it's very likely you're suffering with low testosterone. But low T doesn't have to affect you anymore. Just call Tri-State Men's Health, get treated, and see how it changes your life. If you're like most men, you'll feel so much better. Deeper sleep, improved vitality and clarity, greater strength and energy, and an enhanced sex drive as well. So call us. Just $99 gets you a PSA and T-test and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654. That's 800-900-9654. Or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 6 offices across the tri-state area to serve you.
Master Grillers Unite. The grilling season never ends at Billiards Plus. Come see their best-in-class grills for yourself and check out Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family-owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
I'm an old school Joe, and my philosophy is simple and effective. At the end of the day, it's not what you win or lose, it's what you save. And Bet and Reduce Juice at Prime Sports Ohio is the way to save money on every single bet. Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Get a welcome bonus to match your initial deposit up to $400 in bonus bets. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 and present in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Sometimes I hear a sparkling sound.
Like when we say, all you have to do is point?
There it is.
That's the sound of magic happening.
Magic like we can come the day you call us? Wow.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
They'll offer betting advice, but don't bet on it being good. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
It has been hot out this week. Join Rothman and Ice today for a special live broadcast as we kick off the 2025 Beat the Heat Fan Drive. The guys will be live from the Westerville Fire Station at 400 West Main Street, and we're asking you to help a neighbor in need. Bring a new box fan to donate, and as a thank you, the first 100 people who drop off a fan there today will receive a pair of tickets to the Cardell Jones charity softball game at Huntington Park on July 19th. Help Central Ohio stay cool this summer. It's the Beat the Heat Fan Drive in partnership with 10 TV, Life Care Alliance, and The Fan, Ohio's sports destination. We're set up out front here of the studios today. If you want to drive by and drop off your fan here, they're out there and taking those as well. Bids, we have talked a lot. We always talk a lot about the weather on this show. We have talked a lot about it this week. Luckily, you and I have not much today. I don't like as hot as it's been this week. I'm not for this.
No. When it gets in the 90s, I just melt. And it's just, I say this all the time. Nobody likes being very hot or very cold. But if you had to pick one or the other, I would be very cold because you can at least then just throw on extra layers. There's only so many layers you can take off before you get arrested. So if it's like 90 degrees out, it's like, geez, unless I'm in a pool. I heard you talking about this, like when you're going to be down in, you were saying this on the Collins show, I believe, on Sunday. You're like, when I'm going to be down in Florida, it's probably going to be close to 100 degrees, but you're going to be in the pool the entire time.
Exactly. I'm either in the pool or God's biggest pool, the Atlantic Ocean. So
there you go. We're back in the room, right? I mean, that's the way to do it. You know, I have buddies that live in Phoenix, in the Phoenix area, and they're like, we just don't go outside during the summertime. It gets like, it's a dry heat, though. Yeah, if it's 120 degrees, you don't want to go outside. I'm with you, man. I do not like, I know we get through winter and we can't wait for the weather to warm up, and then it gets to the 90s and we complain about that. But I'm with you, man. It was too hot this week.
The one of the very first things, and I will always remember the first On the Money that I produced and filled in and did with you and Scotty. And it was just one of those things. There's sometimes in life where you meet people and like it just clicks. For some reason, you're like, hey, this is my person. I like hanging out with these guys. And I feel like that's how it was with you, I, and Scotty the very first time. But one of the first times, I don't remember what we were even talking about, but I remember I dropped my line on you like, I'm built for San Diego, not Texas.
Yes.
And it was the first time we all ever met, and you guys laughed. But it's true. Like, I am just, you give me 65, you give me 60, you give me 70. I can wear shorts and a long sleeve shirt. I can wear pants or a t-shirt. You know, I can use all of my wardrobe. That's the weather I want. Like you said, only so many clothes I can take off. I can always put more on. Exactly.
90, especially with the Ohio humidity, like 90 feels like it's like 110. So yeah, looks like we're going to have a little reprieve here for this weekend, although it might rain.
No one is built for the Midwest. That's my take.
That's true.
You just get the extremes of both and none of the good stuff.
Seriously, and it feels like spring and fall we get a little taste of that. Not enough. We get a lot of winter, we get a lot of summer, we get a little bit of fall and a little bit of spring.
Sometimes you get a taste of it in the same day. You get a taste of a little bit of all of it in the same day.
The fall lovers say, oh, look at the pretty colors. And I say, most of the time the color is gray during the fall. Once the leaves change colors, they fall, and then it's just gray the rest of the time.
Bo hasn't even been here this week, and I feel like he's rubbing off on you just being a part of the show. The NBA draft the past two nights, there were a lot of storylines. Obviously, Cooper Flagg, everybody knew he was going to go number one in the draft. Most people thought Dylan Harper would go number two, as he did. The interesting thing is Rutgers basketball was terrible last year.
I know. How is that even possible?
So bad, but yet they had two of the top 5 picks in the NBA draft. And one of those picks, Ace Bailey, hadn't even played a game in the league yet, but was trying to dictate where he was going to go. It sounds like his agent told teams in the top 5, don't draft me because I don't want to come there. Well, the Utah Jazz said, we don't care. We're going to take you anyway. And they draft him with the number 5 pick. I don't know what you guys think about this, and I'm usually more old school in my sports thinking and whatnot. I do not like players who haven't played a drop in the pros yet, trying to dictate where they go.
Eli Manning is one that always comes to mind for me, right? He didn't get a lot of flack. I think people realize his dad, Archie, knew a lot about playing for a bad organization. Like when Archie played for the Saints, they were a joke, and he absolutely got killed. But yeah, it was always interesting that Eli Manning didn't get a lot of flack for that, for basically doing the same thing that Ace Bailey is doing.
Well, and I think real quick on that, there's 2 reasons with that. One, the Manning family and the name, but 2, it kind of worked out pretty good.
For everybody.
For the Chargers, right? Because they end up getting Phillip Rivers in the trade, and Phillip Rivers, while he never won a Super Bowl there, put up pretty good numbers. I think you could argue Phillip Rivers' numbers are better than Eli Manning's, but Eli Manning got the 2 Super Bowls. The one I always think of is John Elway.
Oh, yeah.
It was like,
that's
don't
the
draft him,
original.
I'm going to go, play baseball and whatnot. You heard rumblings of this possibly with Shador and Travis Hunter and Dion, like they're only going to play for certain teams. Obviously, that never materialized and happened with those guys. It's just something that I don't like.
I'm not a fan of it, but I don't have a huge problem with it. But I do like that the Utah Jazz were like, no, you're not going to tell us we're not going to draft you. If we think you're the best player, we're going to draft you. What's he going to do, sit out? No, he's not going to sit out. He'll end up playing for the Jazz. And I didn't know this. I don't know if Evan Mobley ever came out and said he didn't want to play for the Cavs. But apparently he wouldn't work out for them. They ended up taking him anyway with a number 3 overall pick that year, and that's worked out really well. But I was reading about this Ace Bailey story, and someone was like, this has happened many times before. Mobley wouldn't work out for the Cavs. I'm like, I had never heard that before. That's not the same thing as saying, don't draft me, though.
Yeah, Baker, I feel like we disagree a lot of times.
That's because you're a young punk, Dylan. You're a young punk, and I'm a grumpy old curmudgeon.
I look at the examples of like Elway and Manning and how it worked out. And to me, if you're a pro athlete, you only get one career. And if you by happenstance are a top player in the draft and there's a bunch of franchises that you don't want to go to, you only got one shot to make it happen. So I would try my damnedest to try to make sure I'm going to an organization that I actually want to go to. I would at least make the effort and do what I need to do. But the thing with Ace Bailey, though, that is different from Manning and Elway is leverage. I feel like he doesn't have any.
Mm-hmm. As the Jazz proved. Yeah, was Elway, I'm trying to remember, who did Elway not want? Was it the Baltimore Colts? Yes, okay.
And he threatened to go play for the Yankees because I think he also got drafted by them.
Here's my thing with that, Dylan, and I get what you're saying, but the NBA rookie contract is 4 years, right?
Yeah.
Play your rookie contract, and then you can go wherever you want. Right? Like, you haven't done anything to have, as you mentioned, leverage. You haven't done anything to have any leverage. And Cooper Flagg, number 1 pick, maybe he has a little leverage, who knows? But you have done nothing. Like, you didn't even win basketball games in college basketball. Like, I don't know what leg you have to stand on. And you mentioned it. He didn't have any leverage. Play your 4 years. Then you can go wherever you want. I've never understood that about these guys that are like, they sign these contracts, they feel, and then they want out. Like, just fulfill your contract, and then you can go wherever you want. Like, if you really want to play somewhere, you don't have to sign a max value deal to go there if they can't afford you. If you really want to go to an organization, you can take a little less, right, to go where you want to. Now, should someone have to do that? I don't know. But if that's what you want to do, you have full control then.
I understand it more in the NFL because the average career is shorter in the NFL compared to the NBA.
Correct.
Also, if you're a first-round pick in the NFL, they have you for 5 years if they want. Then they can really have you for 7 years because they can franchise tag you and then franchise tag you again. NBA, you're right. After 4 years, you're an unrestricted free agent.
That's what I was going to bring up because a couple months ago, we had a somewhat similar story with Caleb Williams and him maybe trying to do something like this, where he's going to a place like Chicago where he's seen them ruin quarterback after quarterback after quarterback. Situations like that, I definitely understand. I don't know how you feel about that specific situation.
And football is a little different, right? Because they have some control. And I think even baseball, like the team that drafts you has some control for a little longer. But yeah, in the NBA, sign that 4-year deal, then you can do what you want. Maybe you don't get the supermax contract because the team didn't draft you. You don't get that extra. It's an extra year, right? Like, you can sign 8 years in the NBA. If you go somewhere else, it's 7. But yeah, just go. You wanted to be in the league. No one said you had to go be in the league. Like, just go do your time, serve your contract out, then you can go wherever you want.
Oh, Utah's a beautiful state. Come on, Ryan. He'll end up loving it out there.
I mean, listen, there's probably worse places to live, right, than
Definitely.
Utah. I mean,
I've never been to Utah, but when they do these lists of like the most beautiful states in the United States, it's always one of the top ones.
I mean, Lake Tahoe looks like one of the most beautiful places in the world to me, all the pictures I've seen. So
maybe we should see a Blue Jackets Mammoth game sometime.
I'm in. That's one thing I need to do. I need to go to Fenway, and I need to go to like more visiting ballparks and watch my teams play. That's something on my bucket list.
Well, next week you're going to Fenway. My buddy Steve Hellwagon's going. He's going to all three. He's going to Boston. He's going to all three games. Red Sox. You should go next week.
That's on my bucket list, right? Is before I die, I need to go see a game in Fenway Park. We will wrap up the show and the week with three things coming up next. It's Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
If you miss a live show, you can catch the podcast. If you miss the podcast, our hosts have volunteered to have dinner with you.
Ma, the meatloaf!
The Fan.
With Amazon Business, smart business buying tools enable buyers to find and purchase items fast. Free up your teams and focus on your future. Learn more at AmazonBusiness.com.
Common Man here. Let me tell you something. I'm on these Germain interoffice emails. At Germain Lexus, during the month of June, they've challenged themselves to sell more cars than they ever have in 1 month. What does that mean? Well, I'm stupid, but to me, that means they're willing to deal, baby. And the memorial cars are on the lot. The ones the golfers drive for the tournament are now available to you. I've been a Germain customer for years, even before I started doing the commercials. If you're in the market, please stop in. Germain Lexus, 2 locations to serve you, Dublin and Easton, GermainLexus.com.
Get Eco.
ECO. Hey, Jerry, I think I invented something. Does it solve a problem? It solves a big problem.
Get Eco.
ECO. Heating and cooling companies are telling people your furnace and AC isn't worth fixing. You need to replace it with a whole new system. You invented a solution for that? I invented a way to fix those systems for free.
Get Eco.
ECO. That's a great invention. How does it work? Step 1 is to pay Eco to fix it. I thought you said you'd fix it for free. Step 2 is that we give you back all the money that you paid us, up to $1,500 when you get Eco to replace it.
Get Eco.
ECO. What if your repair keeps my system running for several more years? That would mean you got all those extra years for free. Paying Eco to fix your AC system is like putting money in the bank.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Get Eco.
ECO. Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians. Get Eco.com.
Road trip! This summer at Tire Discounters, your tires are your passport to savings, because you're driving to Paris,
Texas,
then it's off to Rome,
Georgia,
and you'll be kissing the Blarney Stone in Dublin,
Ohio!
Right now, save up to $494 when you buy 4 tires, and that includes a free alignment and oil change. Stop at Tire Discounters before you see the world.
Boating season is finally here, and Buckeye Lake Marina is your go-to destination for all your on-the-water needs. With the largest inventory in Central Ohio, you can choose from top brands like Bennington, South Bay, Crown Line, and more. Buckeye Lake Marina has it all. Pontoon boats, luxury tri-toon boats, even merch. Open 7 days a week to serve you better. Find your next dream boat at Buckeye Lake Marina. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com today for all your on-the-water needs. The good life, the lake life, starts at Buckeye Lake Marina.
Hi, I'm Bob Capace from Worthington Jewelers.
And I'm his very overpaid celebrity endorser, Common Man. Bob, I heard somewhere, actually from you many, many times, that Worthington Jewelers is where Columbus gets engaged.
It's too bad you and Timmy can't engage the audience.
Good zing, Bob.
If you're thinking of popping the question, there's only one place to go.
Worthington Jewelers on High Street in Worthington. WorthingtonJewelers.com. Tell them Common Man sent you.
Buckeye football training camp is coming. Catch live editions of Morning Juice, T-Bone, and Tybus and Bishop and Friends starting July 31st. They'll be close enough to smell the jock straps. Live on the Fan and YouTube. Yay football.
Hey, it's Anthony. Comfort is king. We all strive for it, but life gets in the way. You know that. And oh, my aching feet is not just a cliche. That's why the Good Feet store, in my opinion, has the best arch support solutions engineered to help you and me live the life we love without pain. For more than 30 years, they've taken great pleasure in helping thousands discover the comfort they've been dreaming of. I'm a customer. I have their 3-step system put right into all my shoes. They support, balance, and strengthen my feet and really guide them right into their ideal position. Every step I take, every move I make, I get relief. Not from the song, although I love that, but from my personally fit arch supports from the Good Feet store. Your free fitting is designed to help them understand you, your pain and your discomfort, your personalized system. You'll walk out wearing your new arch supports hassle-free and begin living the life you love without pain. The Good Feet Store on Stringtown Road in Grove City or Polaris Parkway. Learn more at goodfeet.com.
Want to know anything about the fans' contests, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Sports conversation that's worthy of a toast, or at least a stiff drink. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Welcome back in. Final segment of the week. Bishop and Friends, Ryan Baker, Dave Biddle, Dylan Gonzalez with you today. Final segment of the week means only one thing, and that's three things.
One, two, three things.
Sponsored by Buckeye Lake Marina, Central Ohio's largest selection of new and pre-owned boats. Find your next dream boat at BuckeyeLakeMarina.com.
So my first thing, I talked about this earlier this week, that I got a rotisserie chicken for the first time in a long time, and I thought, why isn't a rotisserie chicken in my rotation more often? It's so good, it's so versatile, it's so easy, it's so cheap, so I think the rotisserie chicken is going into my rotation. Now, I kind of blame you for this, Dylan, because I don't know if it was on the show or on your social media not long ago. You were making a statement and you were sticking up for the air fryer.
Yes.
Saying how good the air fryer is. And in that air fryer comment that you made, you were talking about pork chops, and you said you had one in the air fryer and one, I don't know the other way how it was, but
I pan-fried it.
You pan-fried it, and you said that the air fryered pork chop was superior. And ever since then, I don't know why, I've been wanting a pork chop. And I was at an establishment last night that had pork chops on the menu, and I got the pork chops. I'm telling you what, it was damn good. I mean, real good. And I know sometimes at home, you know, making a pork chop like a restaurant is kind of tough. You got to be able to do it exactly the right way and the right seasonings and whatnot. I think pork chops, though, like rotisserie chicken, are going in the rotation for me. It was that good.
They're good to throw on the grill, too, Baker.
I do them on the grill a lot, when I've done them in the past.
I'll bring you some seasonings to try.
All right.
Well, there you go.
I'm all in.
Yeah, I'd be charcoal grilling that, but the air fryer sounds like a good option as well. Do I go next, or do
You're
you?
next.
Okay, so my first thing is the second half of the MLB season begins tonight for the Cincinnati Reds. They're sitting there at 42-39, and I'm happy with that. 3 games over 500. Their over-under for wins was 78.5, meaning you can go 79-83 and win that bet. So hopefully they can keep it going. They play the Padres, a very good Padres team, 3-game series. I do not like the pitching matchup for the Reds tonight. Nick Martinez, who I thought we had put in the bullpen, is starting for the Reds, and the Padres are going with Dylan Cease. So that's a little bit of a mismatch, but hopefully the Reds can keep their good season going and can at least make a run for the playoffs this year.
I need to jump in on the conversation that started on this show yesterday and then spilled over into the beginning of Rothman and Ice yesterday about Hooters. And I feel like Rothman tried to make you and Ice feel some type of way about having such high praise for Hooters. I was also sad when they closed the Hooters in Central Ohio. I also agree with Matty Ice that they have the best wings of all the national franchises. It's facts, okay? September 2011 was a sad day. That's when they closed the one on the east side and the one in Polaris here. I remember it like it was yesterday, 14 years ago. Very, very sad. He wants to say that we're there for the girls and the track shorts. Whatever, that's just an added bonus. The wings and the burgers are delicious. That's just facts.
The wings are great.
Yes.
I mean, I think Roosters is right there as well. Or Frickers, which is basically the same thing. They're brothers that broke away. Like Frickers and Roosters, really the same thing. But you're right, man. And people would always make fun of me when I would say, like, "Oh yeah, you like Hooters for the wings, right?" Sure. I'm like, I really do.
Yes. Yeah, the best.
So what you're saying is sometimes you really are reading the article. That's what I'm hearing from all of this. My second thing,
Penthouse, huh?
My second thing, Bids, you mentioned the Reds tonight taking on the San Diego Padres. My guy Fish in the other room sent me a text last night. He's like, "Hey, you want some sweet tickets to the Reds tomorrow night?" I was like, well, sure, absolutely I do. So supposedly I'm getting an email here shortly with 4 tickets to the Reds game to my Ticketmaster account for tonight. Going to head down there and have a good time at Great American Ballpark.
In the suite.
Haven't been down there since you and I and Scotty went down there at the beginning of the year. So it's always a good time when you're in person to see some baseball.
No doubt. And I think I'm going to steal your thunder here. But my second thing is all things Columbus Blue Jackets NHL draft. Like, I really won't care about the draft if the Jackets trade both picks, at least not the first round, but hopefully they can make a big trade. There's a lot of smoke that they will. So hopefully it's going to be a big and exciting day for our Columbus Blue Jackets.
So I'm on a food kick today. Yesterday, we had a meeting upstairs, and Tim Hall and Jacob Reimer were talking about Chick-fil-A, and they were talking about how Chick-fil-A has a spicy chicken sandwich. Why don't they have spicy chicken nuggets? And I was like, I never thought about this, but there is room for top spicy chicken nugget. Do you guys have a favorite spicy chicken nugget that comes to mind immediately?
Wendy's.
You see, there's really not that much competition. If Chick-fil-A would just throw that spicy seasoning on their Chick-fil-A nuggets, they can maybe corner the market for spicy chicken nuggets.
They've got good hot sauce, but you're right. Why not have spicy nuggets? Why do I have to put the hot sauce on there?
You have everything at your disposal to do it. So just do it. Come on, Chick-fil-A.
Final thing for me, this is the first time that since joining the Bishop and Friends program full time that I have been in here hosting without Reese or without Bo. So I feel like today they took the training wheels off. And guys, I think we had a pretty good, fun Friday show. So thank you. I couldn't, when I heard you were going to be here with me, I was like, I've hosted tons of show with Bid. That's my guy. Dylan, he's been in here all week. So thank you for you guys for being here for the maiden voyage without the boys.
Yeah, it's nice working with Dylan for the first time. I've actually met Dylan for the first time before the show. My final thing, I got my Phil Steele magazine, but I haven't opened it yet. I got
Christmas
it yesterday.
in July.
So I'm going to be just nerding out on some Phil Steele today. You guys want to know who the backup left tackle is at Purdue? I'll be able to tell you. Not right now, but I'm going to be scouring my Phil Steele magazine tonight.
Last thing for me is to listen to Rothman and Ice coming up. They'll have Jensen Lewis at 1:30 and Blue Jackets head coach Dean Evanson at 2:30. Great get for draft day.
Yes.
Don't forget the Blue Jackets draft special tonight at 6. Hopefully a big thing, big weekend for the Jackets. We will have Don Waddell on this program 9:30 Monday morning. Bo and Reese will be back for that. Rothman and Ice coming up next. Don't go anywhere. This has been Bishop and Friends on 97.1 The Fan.
Question from a listener: do you dopes ever get tired of talking about Ohio State? No. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I totally get it. But the good news is there are alternatives to the CPAP machine. And Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and, of course, stops your snoring. That's the main point. It's quick and comfortable and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and now he's expanding his practice to better serve his patients with a brand new location in Marysville. I love Marysville. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. Do not delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. You can also visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. And now, sleepbettermarysville.com too.
Trust. It's something we all value, but also something that's hard to earn, especially when it comes to your home. In a city like Columbus with so many contractors to choose from, how do you know who to trust with one of your biggest investments? At Newman Roofing, we believe trust starts with character and continues with consistent results. As a family-owned and operated company, we built our reputation on hiring good people, value-driven professionals who treat your home with the same care and respect they'd give their home. Our team is committed to delivering a true white glove experience. That means paying attention to the details, communicating clearly, and doing the job right the first time. We use only the highest quality products, installed with precision and backed by proven techniques. That's how we ensure you'll feel confident not just today, but for years to come. And we don't just ask you to take our word for it. With over 770 five-star reviews on Google, you can read story after story from homeowners just like you who trusted Newman Roofing and had their expectations exceeded. When it comes to roofing, gutters, or siding, call the local company built around family, values, and integrity. Newman Roofing. Call today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit online at newmanroofing.com. Don't just get a new roof, get a Newman roof.
Watching Clorox cleanup spray dissolve tough grime in the shower feels like...
Wait, this really just happened? I'm shocked. Underwear and everything?
It feels like being able to zip up your overpacked suitcase on the first try.
Smooth.
With Clorox, clean feels satisfying. Clean feels good. Use as directed.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Hereeth my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times?
You're playing the lute. Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Waddle, hop, or gallop your way to adventure. The Columbus Zoo invites you to follow the footsteps and the tails of animals from around the world. Explore 8 wild regions, including our newest North America trek. So what are you waiting for? Get your tail to our trails only at your Columbus Zoo. Get more information and tickets at columbuszoo.org.
It's child's play to donate your car, truck, RV, or boat to Ronald McDonald House Charities of Central Ohio. They'll pick it up free of charge, steer you through the paperwork, and a hefty tax deduction rolls your way as you help provide a home away from home for families of seriously ill hospitalized children. For more information about donating your vehicle to Ronald McDonald House Charities, visit rmhc-centralohio.org or call 614-CARS-HELP. That's 614-CARS-HELP.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Canty here. It's time to turn things up a notch. This summer, don't binge watch shows, binge s'mores by the campfire. Press pause on the podcast and press play on Warm Weather Vibes. Here's your chance to win $10,000 for your ultimate summer. What are you waiting for? Take a shot with 5-Hour Energy and make this summer your best summer ever. Visit 5heshot.com for full details and rules to enter today. No purchase necessary. Ends June 30th, 2025.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.